All right, happy Friday. Welcome to the Take Two podcast. It's your co-host, Tavon.
This is your, I guess, main host, Nico.
This is another co-host. It's Nye.
Dang, I'm just running with it. It's good. I'll take the mantle.
All right. We got a lot of stuff to get into today, fellas. You know we got the NFL playoffs this weekend, so we got a lot of stuff to get into.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so let's go hit it with some pick'em games. So I guess we'll start with the Raiders and Bengals.
Man, I got my notes on it, but
Oh, you did research?
of course I did research. I ain't really had to do much though. I just already.
You got a stat guy?
I'm gonna just tell you right now, Bengals is winning this. Come on now.
I'm not gonna give too much try to overanalyze this. The Bengals are rolling right now. Jamar Chase might genuinely be the best rookie wide receiver, and I thought Justin Jefferson was excellent coming out. And Odell obviously had like a historic rookie year. There's an argument to be made that Jamar Chase had the best wide receiver rookie season ever. He was putting up Madden numbers just casually.
Man, he don't like the Ravens.
Oh, yeah.
He's like the Ravens. He's like the Chiefs. I mean,
first they had A.J. Green, and now they got Jamar Chase.
Yeah, he was putting up like Randy Moss.
Jamar Moss.
Exactly. So I have the Bengals winning. I don't think it will be handily, though. I think the Raiders,
I think it's gonna be a high scoring game.
Yeah. I think the Raiders secretly have put together. They have a pass rush. For some reason, their offense scores points, and I don't know how they do it. But they'll just before you know it, they'll be in the fourth quarter with like 22 points on the board and in striking distance to win games. I do think they're a team though that's going to face serious regression next year. I don't think they're going to be in the playoffs.
Yeah.
So I don't know what happened to Josh Jacobs. If this was Josh Jacobs last year, I would say the Raiders probably would have more of a chance. I don't think they're going to put up the numbers that the Bengals are going to put up against them. I think the Bengals are about due to score like 30, 35 points.
Yeah, I mean, and Joe Burrow's going to go out. He's going to look great, and everyone's going to, put the title on him like he's the next great modern-day quarterback. I think we do this thing with younger quarterbacks, and this will be the only time I talk about it, or at least try to.
So we bring out the cigarettes for Joe Burrow for round one?
What'd you say?
We gonna bring out the cigars for Joe Burrow round one?
I'm not. It's the Raiders.
Joe Shiesty.
It's the Raiders. But I think we do this thing with young quarterbacks because there's a change of the guard here with your Phillip Rivers retiring, your Brady's out the door, except it feels like he'll play till 50. But Manning, Ben Roethlisberger's retiring. It feels like we're doing this change of the guard where we're trying to force greatness on young quarterbacks, and it's like, when are you gonna do it? When are you gonna make the Super Bowl run? And right now it's Mahomes and no one else. So,
unfair.
I'm not. If Joe Burrow goes out and loses this game or loses, in round two, it doesn't matter. He's young. So that's why I think about the Bengals Raiders. Just to go on a small tangent there.
I'm about to say I got the Bengals winning that. Offense is just too high power for me. Because you got
Mixon,
you got Joe Mixon, you got Jamar Chase, not to mention you got T. Higgins and Tyler Boyd. Offense is just going to keep on clicking all cylinders. Only thing with the Raiders that can be good again for them is just like the pass rush, like you mentioned. Bengals don't really have a really good to great offensive line. So you keep on putting the pressure on Joe Burrow, you got a chance to win the game.
Their offensive line's going to have to get way better if they want like a Super Bowl run, like a legitimate Super Bowl run.
Or just to be consistent contenders in AFC North, they just going to have to get offensive line.
Yeah, I mean, you got the Steelers. I mean, the Ravens been decimated this year, unfortunately. But usually they come with some sort of a pass rush. I think the Bengals are here to stay, though. I don't think this is like a one-season fluke. I think they're going to be contending for the best team in the AFC North with the Ravens for a while.
Definitely.
All right, so we good to go on to the Patriots and Bills. Who y'all got?
This game. Yeah. So I have the Bills winning, but and I heard Nick Wright talk about it, and I kind of agree. This isn't a game that the Bills can afford to lose, and I say this because the Patriots have owned the Bills. Even though the Bills beat them, I think they split in the regular season 1-1. But the Patriots have owned the Bills for what seems like forever, and if they go in with a rookie quarterback and beat the Bills in what I'm pretty sure is an away game for the Patriots, that is not good for that team's morale at all.
Or Josh Allen.
Yeah, or Josh Allen. And Josh Allen, you can make an argument. I mean, he has been underrated this year. Wasn't even voted to the Pro Bowl, even though I think he was like the #1 fantasy quarterback. Not that matters, but his picks were up, the touchdowns were down, and you need to see improvement at least in the postseason. And I think losing to the Patriots just marks a big step back. So I'm expecting them to win. I don't think Mac Jones, a rookie quarterback. There's a reason rookie quarterbacks don't win the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And there's a reason that they usually struggle in the playoffs. And I think you're going to see it this weekend. It's not going to be a mark on Mac Jones. I think Mac Jones is he outperformed my expectations.
Yeah, I think he's pretty suitable this year.
Yeah, he reminds me of 49ers Alex Jones. Or not Alex Jones.
Alex Smith.
Alex Smith.
Yeah.
Not Alex Jones. He reminds me of 49ers Alex Smith a lot. He makes the proper short to medium passes.
Game manager.
Yeah, definitely. But there's game managers.
Just missing a little athleticism on that department though. Alex Smith can scramble the ball
Alex
a
Smith
little bit.
Yeah, he get you like quick 7 yards on his wheels.
True.
I definitely took the Bills. I don't really trust a rookie quarterback going into playoffs. It just comes down to experience. The Bills made a couple of playoffs with Josh Allen before. I just see them going to playing at home and just handling what they got to do for real. I don't really have no faith that Mac Jones is just gonna have this all-time great playoff run this year. It'll happen, but
that'd be crazy. Could you imagine?
Yeah, they'll put it to Belichick, really, if anything. I'll just say Belichick.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, I think this team as a whole, them making it, is kind of a testament to Belichick. His son, I'm pretty sure, is the defensive coordinator of that team.
Yes,
and he has had them playing fantastic. I think outside of the Bills game, he's been playing great.
I will say in both meetings that the Patriots and the Bills played this year, Mac Jones has been underwhelming. So I don't really. And Josh Allen hasn't turned the ball over against New England all year. I don't really see it starting now.
Mac Jones has gotten some slander, primarily because he won a game throwing like 3 passes. And I think a lot of people look at like the conservative numbers, but I mean, let's look at his wide receiver core. Can you name someone outside of Hunter Henry and
He got Nelson Aguilar. What you mean?
Nelson Aguilar.
Jacoby Myers, right?
God.
Oh, come on.
Not Nelson.
It's like
They still have a Gunnar Orlovsky or whatever his name is. Yeah, I like his name, but it's nothing notable. It's not like he's sitting there with Jamar Chase or
Jettis.
Yeah, Jettis or any of that.
Yeah, I was about to say, as sad as this may sound to go against Bill Belichick, but got the Bills, just like you said, Nico. If the Bills lose this game, it's bad especially for Bills Mafia. And plus, I think anything less than an AFC Championship is, I guess you consider a lost season for the Buffalo Bills.
You got that high expectation for them?
It's not because I just think they just have high expectations for themselves as a team.
That's true.
You got, Josh Allen, who has that good contract extension. But I just feel as though they do a disservice to him a bit because they don't run the ball as consistently as they should.
So I don't necessarily blame Josh Allen for this. As someone who's owned Zach Moss and Devin Singletary in fantasy and have been subjected to focusing on the Bills' running game, neither of those running backs are particularly notable.
Yeah.
And I'm not someone who typically says draft a running back in the first round. I mean, we've seen for numerous teams it not necessarily work out. There's a couple of instances where I say it has, but I think the Bills might be in contention for either in the first or early second if you're going to trade up. They need to get like a mix-in type and a Kamara type, some receiving like a receiving
like a jack of all trades type of back.
Yeah, I don't think they necessarily need like a Leonard Fournette who comes. Actually, Leonard Fournette's
he's been doing good in the receiving department. Yeah.
But I don't think they necessarily need a workhorse Derrick Henry run over your face running back.
And you start talking about like first round running backs, I start thinking of Trent Richardson, how that turned out. You don't even got to do that, bro.
Yeah, I mean even the ones that I'd say have hit great.
Derrick Henry was first round.
Who?
Derrick Henry was second round.
Second round.
Yeah.
Wow.
But like Christian McCaffrey, for instance, right?
Yeah.
Injured. It's
Saquon
injured. and these are great players, but in a position that's so fragile, and necessarily you see a lot of the teams that have picked running backs early, it doesn't necessarily work out.
I think that makes it more urgent for the Bills because as of right now, Josh Allen's their best running back.
Yeah, I think he had like 500 to 700 rushing yards this year.
It's crazy. Yeah, he's white Cam Newton.
They calling him the best two-way quarterback in the league. I know Nico don't like that.
Yeah,
best dual threat.
So I'm gonna try to limit the Josh Allen slander a tad, but I think people overreact to Lamar Jackson's throwing. It feels like when Lamar Jackson has a bad pick or a bad interception or a game where he throws 3 picks, it's the end of the world and he's a running back. But when Josh Allen does the same thing, it's kind of just brushed under the rug. Yeah. And I don't know. I think that kind of comes from Lamar hate or Ravens fans hate. I don't necessarily know too many people who hate Bills fans. I don't see them on Twitter.
No.
But
they have a quiet fan base.
They do.
Not really. We got Bills Mafia. What you mean?
Bills Mafia.
Well,
I'm saying they're loud.
Yeah, they're loud, but social media wise,
they mind their business.
Social media wise, I get, but they're not a quiet fan base. But
they mind their business.
Guess ready to go for Eagles Bucks. Start with 9.
I'll start with Nair on this. Yeah.
So I hate to go against my team, but I just 20 years of this shit, man. You don't bet against Tom Brady. I think the only way the Eagles win this, we just ground and pound them. I think we got the personnel too. We just haven't ran the ball with Miles Sanders much all year, so I don't really see how we're gonna. I don't see that changing just for a playoff game. He broke his hand last week or a couple of weeks ago, and he walked into practice today. He ain't had nothing on his hand, so they're saying he's probably a go for Sunday.
You're talking about Sanders?
Yeah, Miles Sanders. But I don't think he makes that big of a deal. I don't really see any way we could just walk into Tampa Bay and beat them.
I'm actually a lot closer on this. The more I thought about it, the harder this actually is to pick. And let me explain why. So the Eagles have secretly and quietly turned into a very good rushing defense. They do not allow big rushing gains. And a lot of plays end at the line of scrimmage for them. And that's a testament to how good their defensive line and the personnel that they have on there is. With that being said, the Buccaneers do have a fantastic offensive line. And what I think this game is actually going to come down to is how ready is Leonard Fournette. I heard he's back in practice today, and I hear he's probably going to be a go for Sunday. But a lot of what the Buccaneers succeed at or can do, even though I know Brady has put up fantastic numbers this season and he's actually my MVP, I don't think with Leonard Fournette being possibly hobbled and not 100%, the Eagles are going to force the Buccaneers to have to pass. And with a lot of the injuries they've received to Chris Godwin and some of the other players on that team, actually not even injuries. Antonio Brown just walked off the field and threw his jersey and just straight up quit. I think you're in a really ugly position if you're the Buccaneers, and the Eagles' defense might actually be the key point to win this. So with that being said, I actually have the Eagles winning this game in an upset.
Oh, you got the Eagles winning?
Yeah, I do have the Eagles winning.
I'm actually not too far behind.
Yeah.
I honestly think the Eagles can win this game. If you had to ask me who will win, I'm gonna go with Eagles. I'm gonna choose the Eagles.
It sounds crazy. Like I know I'm going hard against.
So your reason for your reason that you say the Eagles have a chance is the reason I think we're gonna lose. I think Gronk's having a multi-touchdown game.
Yeah, but I feel as though, like, going back with what Nico said, if Leonard Fournette is hampered in any way, the Eagles' underrated skill point of their team, I think, is their defensive line. Fletcher Cox is a monster. Yeah. They got they got Sweat on the defensive end. He's turning into a really good pass rusher, in my opinion. And the decimated receiving core, because you don't got Godwin, obviously Antonio Brown's not there. You just got to highlight Mike Evans, and you got Darius Slay.
And you got Darius Slay, yeah.
So, in my opinion, as long as the Eagles don't abandon the run, even though, like you mentioned, Miles Sanders is coming back, they got a lot. They can run the ball on anybody. because they're the number one rushing team in the NFL, something like that. Jalen Hurts is a dual threat quarterback in himself.
Yeah, so I do want to touch up on that for a second. I've seen a lot of stuff back and forth on Jalen Hurts, and I think the Eagles would be foolish to move off of him at least this offseason.
Yeah, this year.
I don't think there's any quarterbacks in the draft that are necessarily a massive upgrade from Jalen Hurts.
No.
And I think with his rushing capabilities, you can actually do a lot of really unique stuff offensively that you can't do with traditional quarterbacks. And I think that's going to be emphasis for the Buccaneers defense is stop Jalen Hurts from getting out of the pocket. But once this game starts going on and on and on, and you get a couple of series in there, as long as the Eagles are in it, I think they can generate some offense, and you're putting. I think the Bucs to win this game are going to have to score 24 points. I don't think they're blowing the Eagles out. I think this is going to be a close game. It's got to be like a 4-point.
Y'all got a lot more faith in my team than I do. This
plus you got to look at the defense too for the Bucs. I mean, they don't have Devin White,
nah, they don't.
And then they lost Shaq Barrett, and then even though you can say he didn't have like a great season, obviously, but. They don't have Richard Sherman, so obviously a veteran in the secondary. Secondary right now is pretty young, somewhat inexperienced.
Yeah. To be fair, the Eagles receiving core is equally
not the greatest.
Inexperienced.
Yeah. But Devontae Smith, he can get in wherever as long as they move. As long as they move Devontae Smith, in my opinion, they can do wonders. Who's the what's your third string receiver? I forgot his name.
Oh, we got
Rager?
Not Rager. It was he's like a speedster, but
Rager's our speedster.
Nah, the other one. I forgot his name though.
The worst speedster in the league.
Yeah.
Atrocious.
But
I think he had. I saw a post where it was like
Henry Ruggs.
Yeah, Jalen Rager finished with like 100 less yards than Henry Ruggs, and Henry Ruggs has been in jail since week 8.
Yeah.
That's terrible.
But I think the Eagles can do it. So I'm going to pick the Eagles, actually.
I agree. I think it's going to be close.
Yeah.
If I'm wrong on this, it's not like, oh, haha, you believed in the Eagles and they failed you. Like, no,
it's Brady.
But I don't think Brady's walking in and putting up 3 or 4 touchdowns and they're just walking away with the game. I don't think that's going to happen.
I don't think we're going to get blown out. I think it'll be a close game. But, I mean, regardless, I'm proud of my Eagles. We were supposed to win 4 or 5 games this year, and we made the playoffs. So,
all right. So,
yeah.
We got the 49ers and the Dallas Cowboys.
I'll let you start.
I'm a supporter of the Cowboys. I wouldn't want to say I'm a fan because I don't want to leave myself to disappointment. But I can't be too much of a shudder. I'm going to go with the Dallas Cowboys in this game. As long as they stop the run, I feel as though they should win this game to force the ball in Jimmy Garoppolo's hands. Obviously, they got Deebo Samuel, George Kittle.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say Trayvon Diggs is going to shut him down, obviously, because Deebo Samuel, yak monster. He's all over the field, running back and everything. But I think Jimmy G is going to throw probably one towards the defense. Michael Parsons is going to be a factor as long as he's not on Trent Williams.
My matchup to watch, honestly, in this game is it's interesting to see what they'll do between George Kittle and Micah Parsons. I think that'll be an interesting matchup to watch.
Do not put Michael Parsons on George Kittle.
You don't think?
I do not want to see that.
You don't think?
I want Michael Parsons to be all over the field.
Yeah.
Away from Trent Williams and not covering George Kittle. That's all I want to see.
So you want him in no man's land?
No, he's roaming the field. I just don't want, because like as a designated pass rusher, Trent Williams is by far probably the best left tackle in football right now.
In the league?
I think so.
He's up there.
And
I
don't want Michael Parsons to be marginalized by a premier tackle right now. Let that be Randy Gregory or DeMarcus Lawrence. So as long as you let Michael Parsons do like blitzing from the linebacker positions, let him be a designated defensive end, let him roam around a little bit, I think he'd be good. He can cover George Kittle by like five snaps ish, but I don't want it to be consistent because even though he has the athleticism, George Kittle, I think he's just too technically sound for him right now.
See, it's interesting. I think first of all, I have the Cowboys winning this. I think it's become too popular to pick the Niners to win this game. I see the Cowboys winning. I also think that this has a chance of being a blowout. And I know that sounds crazy to say, but the Cowboys are either on or they're not, and they've been
the playoffs. It's Dallas in the playoffs.
It is the playoffs, but they have a tendency to be on or off, and for some reason I just have a feeling that they're going to be on this game. You for some reason are afraid of a Parsons-Kittle matchup, but I actually think that their key to victory is kind of having Parsons not shadow him the whole game, because I think he's too talented to just be like, shut down George Kittle. Like, you need him pass rushing, and I actually think that's what he succeeds best
but
at.
the Cowboys got Javion Curse. He's a safety. He's had a pretty quiet season. Like he has like over 100 tackles, like 8 pass breakups, like 2 INTs. He's one of those hybrid linebackers, hybrid safety to convert a linebacker, just plays in the box. I think he'll be shadowing Kittle more.
You just need Kittle to not come out and have a 11 catch, 100-yard, 2 touchdown game, and I think it'll be fine.
So I'll pose you this question before I guess we go to 9. If you can shut down one person, who would it be, Debo or George Kittle?
Kittle.
All right.
Kittle. I think Debo can have a good game and they can lose. That's happened numerous times this season for the Niners. I mean, they lost to the Titans. They lost to, they lose to the Texans? No, I'm thinking the Chargers. Chargers lost to the Texans. But the Niners have had Debo Samuel out there, play great, put up like 150 yards, 2 touchdowns, and they still lose games. George Kittle has come in and won them games just by putting up, elite tight end numbers. And I think if there's one position that you need to take out, especially as the game gets close and it's, short to medium routes, short to medium, passing plays, the guy you need to take out, and where the moments that you need to have Parsons out there in coverage, it's probably against George Kittle in third down situations.
Yeah, wait, no, give me 1 second. Actually, 2 more factors. I need to see number 1, Mike McCarthy. I don't trust him. I don't trust him. And number 2, the kicker. I don't call him by his real name. He's disappointed me too much. But the kicker's a problem.
Still
too.
Greg the Leg.
Yeah,
right?
Greg the
It's
Leg.
Greg
Yeah.
the Leg?
Yeah, he's been disappointing this year. So you can go.
I was lazy with this one. I said this could go either way. I'm gonna take the Cowboys just because their offense terrifies me right now. They're averaging something like 38 points per game over their last 4 or 5 games. So Cowboys offense is ridiculous to me now.
Although they put up like 65 points against the Redskins, so that number is kind of skewed.
And then they beat up on our backups.
The game was important apparently. Not playing the Cardinals in the first round.
Yeah, I don't know. I said it's gonna go either way. I'm gonna go with the benefit of the doubt. I trust Dak more than I trust Jimmy G, and we'll talk about that later when we rank quarterback.
True.
Yep. All right, so we got the Steelers, Big Ben versus Patty Mahomes.
Chiefs.
Chiefs. I'm going Chiefs. I'm not even going to overanalyze this too much. I hope this is Ben Roethlisberger's last game. I'm absolutely tired of seeing this man go out there and throw 60 passes for 150 yards. It's the most infuriating stuff in the world to watch outside of maybe the Giants this year, which have been the worst watch that I can think of in a really long time.
You don't remember them first 8-week Lions?
Well, to be fair, the Giants had like 3 receivers who combined for like 0 touchdowns this year.
It was 3 receivers that combined for 0 touchdowns. Like I genuinely think not a single receiver they had more than 500.
I forgot Kenny Galladay was in the league.
He just disappeared.
Exactly. That's how bad the quarterback was.
So anyway, getting back on topic to Steelers Chiefs. I like the Chiefs to win this game a lot. I do think that the Steelers have the defense that can disrupt Patrick Mahomes, but Pat's at this point where I think he's starting to enter his prime and have a real veteran presence, and it's going to take more than just a good defense to knock him down. You got to put up points.
Yeah.
And I don't trust the Steelers.
I think it's kind of funny because, I think this Chiefs team, even though not as hot, it kind of reminds me of last year where the defense started off really slow. And it slowly turns to, they slowly started to get a little hot. I think, obviously, you talked about Ben Roethlisberger. I swear he probably averages like 4 or 5 yards per attempt.
It's horrible.
It's horrendous.
It's shovel passes. His deep ball has completely left him.
Shot.
I mean, I don't want to say the guy's hit a wall, but geez, dude. I'm trying to picture a single play this year where he had a deep ball go more than 20 yards. And I can't pick it up. It's always slants or drag routes, to Chase Claypool, Juju when he did play. I like their tight end, Pat Fryer.
I think Najee Harris is the best player on their team this year.
Oh, Najee Harris.
Or on their offense. On their offense.
Yeah.
But going back with the Chiefs, because you talked about, like, slants, drag routes, they front hitches, obviously, probably. But, like, the Chiefs cornerbacks, they do run a lot of press. So, like, as when you press the receivers at the line of scrimmage, you running these short, very short routes. You're just jamming up the whole play. Yeah. Pretty much. And the offensive line is not the greatest. And Ben's not the most mobile quarterback anymore.
Yeah.
So like
you only shut off so many sacks.
Yeah. So like when you're jamming the receivers when they're only running like 3 to 5 yard routes on a consistent basis, it's.
And if you look at the Chiefs' defense weakness this year, it's been deep passes.
Yes.
It's been, I forget, is it Sorensen, their white safety, that just goes out there and gets mossed 3 times?
And then you see the Honey Badger just throw his hands up all the time.
Yeah, but like I don't think the Steelers and Ben Roethlisberger and the Steelers offense have the capabilities to attack them where they're weak. It's going to take Ben coming out there, sipping the fountain of youth, sucking it up, and throwing some deep balls. And I think if he tries doing that,
his arm will fall off.
Yeah, his arm's going to fall off, and you're looking at a game where Ben's probably throwing like 3 or 4 picks. It'd be an ugly way to go out.
It will be ugly.
I didn't want to acknowledge that the Steelers made the playoffs this year. I didn't even want to acknowledge it. I think the Chiefs are going to come in and just walk them down. I don't think it's going to be a close game. I don't think the Steelers score more than 10 points.
I think they'll probably score like 13.
I mean, they're an ugly watch too. They might put up like 13, 16, but I see this being a double-digit L. I mean, not to be salty Ravens fan or anything, but I mean, if we even had half the guys that are on IR playing, the Steelers aren't even in the playoffs.
Man, if Carson Wentz didn't have a burger out there against the Jaguars, it wouldn't be in there.
I was about to say that. It would have been such a beautiful ending just for, Big Ben,
beat the Ravens.
Win against the Ravens, a rival team.
And then miss the playoffs.
And then just go home, call it a career. You're good, you're done. But now it's like we might have to see him go against, Patrick Mahomes, that high-flying offense. It might get pretty ugly.
Yeah. All right,
somehow he snuck in.
Unanimous Chiefs victory. Yeah. If they lose, I'm going to be on here next week screaming.
So this is a toss-up. So we got the Cardinals and the Rams.
This is gonna be the best game.
This is the one I'm most excited for. I'll just tell y'all now. I picked the Rams only because the Cardinals have looked very shaky. They've lost like 4 of the last 5 or something.
Yeah, it's been bad.
It's not that I trust like Matt Stafford or anything. I just don't trust the Cardinals right now. I don't know. I don't think they got I don't think they had the experience. They're missing D-Hop. I'm just taking the Rams. I don't think they get anything done this game, but it'll be a fun game to watch. It'll be entertaining. Kyler Murray's gonna go out there and might throw some picks, but he'll have 2 touchdown game, 250 yards.
These are 2 of my favorite offenses to watch in the league. It's unfortunate that D-Hop playing.
No, I think NFC Championship is
the time window.
Yeah,
I know J.J. Watt's going to be back, although in a limited capacity, But I do like Kyler as a quarterback, and we'll talk about quarterback rankings in a minute. I do like Kyler as a quarterback more than Stafford, but I have the Rams winning this one. I do think that they're loaded in numerous positions. Aaron Donald's my favorite defensive player in the league. You're sitting there, Von Miller. I actually read something that Eric Weddle is coming out of retirement to get a late season push with the Rams. So
he didn't play last year, did he?
I don't even think he did.
I don't think he did.
It's been a whole year,
it's
2
been
years.
2 years.
Yeah, but I strongly think that Eric Weddle's probably living in LA anyway, so he's
probably
been
just
trading in their backyard.
Back there. He ain't really gonna do much.
He must have. I don't know. It's the most random late season signing I've ever seen. You can't even do this in Madden. He's not even available to be picked up in Madden right now, and so. I don't know what's going on with their safety position. I don't trust their pass defense for some reason. Even though I like Ramsey, their safeties give me concern. But I do like the Rams to win this game fairly soundly. I'm quite confident in saying that I think they're going to win, and Stafford's going to get his first playoff win of his career. And that's the part that scares me because Stafford has been he gets a bad rap. I think with the Lions, a lot of his struggles have primarily been team-oriented. It's not necessarily him. And I thought he actually played good enough to beat the Cowboys a couple of years ago until it was stolen from them on a horrible no call. But ignoring that, unless Stafford comes out and completely implodes, I think that they're sitting with a victory on this one. I trust Sean McVay enough to win.
You trust Sean McVay? Do you trust Matt Stafford? He's lost them some games.
I was about to say that's why I got the Cardinals in this one.
Really?
Yeah. Going back to what Matt Stafford, I think he's a great quarterback. I think he's been, like you said, he's been under a lot of heat, get a bad rep because of the Lions. But I just can't ignore the past 3-4 games he's been having.
It's been mysterious too, because the team's not bad.
The team's not bad. It's just ill-advised throws. Leads the league in interceptions for touchdowns. I'm not calling that for this game, but
it's Odell's fault.
Always blame Odell. But
But then they just.
I think Kyler's gonna have a coming out party, and I don't know if you guys know this, but when it comes to LA teams, if you're not relevant, you might get a good amount of crowd noises and stuff like that. But I think this might turn into a semi-home game for the Arizona Cardinals, because I think that's going to play a little bit of factor
have
into
the Chargers effect, where you're playing an away game.
That's how LA is. If you're not making it relevant, people are not going to come out. But I think,
what quarter are they going to start booing Matt Stafford?
I don't think you're about to hear any boos. I think they'll just hold it till after the game. But I think Kyler's going to do it. I'm just trusting in Kyler because I think he's one of the best dual threat quarterbacks. I don't really. You can say what you want about Cliff Kingsbury. I'm not a huge fan because I think he's just a product of about the surroundings. But
Cliff,
yeah,
Cliff coming out of college I actually liked quite a bit. He kind of put in that air raid offense that they do, where they don't run. It'll be like second and or first and 10, right? And typically in first and 10 or second and 5 situations, you're running the football. Cliff's interesting. They'll call like a 3-yard dump pass, and that's kind of just been the offense that Kyler's run. I like Cliff. I mean, he's not probably my top 10 quarter or head coaches, but I'd attribute a small amount of Kyler's success to the offense that they run.
I just mean just overall as a coach, though, not just offensively.
Yeah, just defensively, there's some questions.
And then off of Kyler, you also got James Conner. I believe will be coming back. I think he's having a terrific season. And you still got Chris Edmonds, I believe, who's been playing pretty well as well. Their other running backs. So I think they can get it done, especially when, like you said, Nico. I don't really am a full believer of the Rams secondary. Obviously, Jalen Ramsey is a great player, but he can't cover the entire.
He can't cover the whole team.
Yeah. So I think as long as Cliff avoids whichever side that Jalen Ramsey's on, I think they can get it done.
I mean, Jalen against D-Hop has always been, and D-Hop's arguably top 10 receiver all time, probably like in the 15 range. I love DeAndre Hopkins, but Jalen Ramsey's gotten the best of him every time they've matched up. He's not playing in this. It'll be interesting to see how they use Jalen Ramsey in this game. But it's not like D-Hop has never really blown up on Jalen Ramsey in any of these games, and so I don't necessarily think his coverage impact is going to be as massive as it usually is, because the Cardinals offense isn't running through one receiver. So I do kind of see what you're saying. That's why I think this will be one of the most entertaining games of the week. I think Kyler can generate offense, and this is probably going to be a close game. I think this is going to be a one-possession game at the end of it.
I will say, I put it in my notes too. I think this is probably going to be the most fun game to watch out of the wild card weekend.
Yeah, it's the most excited I am to
watch.
Plus
it's rivalry matchup.
Yeah.
NFC West. All right, so so based off of that, we got any Super Bowl predictions?
Nah, you want to go first on this?
I can. I think we finally getting Rodgers Mahomes. I think that's what we probably gonna end up doing. I think I don't think the Buccaneers gonna have a chance against the Packers. They play in the NFC Championship this year, and I don't really see anybody in the AFC. I think the AFC is a little bit more wide open, because we know the NFC is probably gonna come down to Brady Rodgers. AFC is a little bit more wide open, but I don't know. Mahomes been there most of the time for the last 3 years, so I'm gonna take Mahomes.
All right, so you got Mahomes over Green Bay?
No, I got Green Bay over Mahomes. Aaron Rodgers gets number 2.
Yeah, so I do think this is finally going to be Rodgers' second ring, and there's an argument to be made that his career accolades have been disappointing in comparison to what he's done. He's arguably the best quarterback ever, and I get that Brady has 8 rings or something like that, or a ridiculous amount of championships, but just based off of skill and talent and his ability to elevate other players, Aaron Rodgers can't play defense, but this Packers defense is pretty damn good.
Oh yeah.
And I don't see the Buccaneers with the injuries that they've suffered. I think it's just enough for the Packers to be able to beat them. And I kind of agree with Nye on this. I think it's going to be, unless another team can step up and shock the Chiefs, I think it's going to be a Chiefs-Packers Super Bowl, and I do think that the Packers are going to win. With that being said, the Packers have almost turned into a disaster waiting to happen in the playoffs every single season. It's always something with them.
And the NFC Championship game, too.
They will be up 14 points and completely shut down. They'll have all the momentum in the NFC Championship, and then they kick a field goal to still be down on the game. It's always something with them, and I put almost none of the blame on Aaron Rodgers, coincidentally.
They were a Kevin King away from a Super Bowl last year.
Yeah.
And I think they would have won it last year.
They would have won it last year. I mean, genuinely, I think Aaron Rodgers in a different universe has like 4 championships. I'm not even playing.
Multiverse of madness.
Talking about the NFL
yeah,
multiverse.
in the NFL multiverse. That's good. We might have to run that as a segment one day. But I do think that this is finally going to be like the Rodgers championship. It'll be interesting to see what he does this offseason if he still stays with the Packers.
All right, so back to that multiverse. Maybe I can finally watch the Cowboys win the Super Bowl and non-VHS tapes.
You have to go through a lot of universes. You'd be sitting there with Doctor Strange like, Can I get the multiverse where the Cowboys win a chip in the last 20 years? He's like, I'm looking.
Remember when he said, remember in Endgame or in what's it called, Infinity Wars, he said there's only one outcome. I think there's only one possible universe where the Cowboys win a Super Bowl, but I don't think that's happening.
Where it was a catch?
Yeah, it was a catch. The catch.
So,
the catch.
So it's a landslide. I also got the Chiefs and Packers, and I'm taking the Packers. As much as I respect Mahomes, I think if you look at the past with the Packers, every time when you will think that they could get there, they don't. It's because of the defense.
Yeah,
this year,
every time.
But this year it's different. It's not. I'm not gonna say it reminds me of, but when Aaron Rodgers won the first Super Bowl, that defense is pretty damn good, and I think they have that this year. And this is without Jair Alexander and one of the Smiths at the pass rush position.
Yeah, you're talking about the one Ravens.
Yeah, Zadarius Smith.
That's who you're talking
about. Is this better than the Klay Matthews Packers defense?
I think it is, because their secondary is pretty good outside. Because like back then they had Charles Woodson. They don't have Kevin. No, unless is he still there? Kevin
yeah,
King?
He's still there.
But he's like probably their fourth corner when Jair comes back. Because when Jair gets back, you got Jair, who's a really damn good corner.
Yeah.
You still got Rasul Douglas, who's an All-Pro this year, if you look at that. And then Eric Stokes, the rookie from Georgia, he's playing corner. He's playing really good.
Forgot about him. Didn't they draft him?
Yeah.
Was it this year?
Yeah. Right from Georgia. So then you got Kevin King, as he's not going to see as much on the field, but like that secondary is pretty good.
I just think to beat the Packers, it's going to take a really and they're in the AFC. If the Titans were playing, because Derrick Henry's back, if the Titans were playing the Packers, I could see that being like a weakness for them. But that whole conference pretty much, especially with Fournette being injured, and I thought he was the best running back.
No one really runs the ball.
No one runs the ball. It's all passing. So they have a defense fit to be able to run through this conference. Ironically, I think the only team that actually, has a solid chance of beating them outside of the Rams, because the Rams, I think, are loaded at the right talent positions, is actually the Eagles. It sounds crazy, but no, I could see them, possibly pulling.
We could have a Cinderella story.
It would be. That would actually be crazy if the Eagles get past round 2.
Then we're in
Now
another
yours gonna be throwing a
multiverse.
party.
We're in the multiverse, so that happens.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
like,
yeah.
nah. All right, so that goes for all the playoff
Pick'ems,
matchups,
yeah,
and we got the
playoff picks.
pick'ems. So we talked about quarterbacks a lot, obviously. So because one of the most important position on the field. So it's only right for us to do the quarterback rankings in the playoffs. So let's go with 9. What you got?
So
Picking up the encyclopedia here.
hey man, so you already know I got number 1 best quarterback in the league this year. He's not my MVP, but it's Aaron Rodgers. He clearly was the best quarterback in the league this year. Not gonna give him the MVP with the vaccination thing and everything, and Tom Brady throwing like 1,000 more yards than
Oh, you
him.
think the vaccination thing impacts his...
I think that killed him.
So I saw the stat comparison between Rodgers and Brady, and it's actually really, really hard for me because I do think the thing that's admirable about Rodgers is he has this rocket arm, and he throws like 4 picks a season, and he has done
He's
this.
very efficient.
And
Yeah.
I think like 2 of them came in week 1.
Yeah,
Oh,
against
yeah.
the Saints.
Yeah.
They,
So-
like 3 to 30.
so-
was
think of it
wasn't
like-
it was the
was
Saints.
Saints,
Yeah.
So like,
I
think of
forget
it,
because they played in
16
Jacksonville.
games, 2 interceptions. That's wild.
It's crazy. And where have we seen 16 games, 2 picks before? Oh, that was Tom Brady like 4 seasons ago,
Yeah.
and he got MVP for that. So I think it's close.
I had to give it to Brady.
I think Brady, with him pulling that Jets game out of his butt, that kind of
That saved him. I
that
guarantee
saved
you
Yo.
that.
that saved him in my opinion.
Yeah.
I thought he had a
The AB
slight
game?
lead. Yeah, the AB game. But ironically, it kind of turned into Tom Brady putting on another masterclass, granted against a horrible team.
So I'll tell you that leads to my number 2. It was clearly Tom Brady. And then I got like my B tier, and I got Pat Mahomes, Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, but they were
In
all
that same order? In that
no.
order?
So that's interchangeable for me.
You have Mahomes in B tier?
Yeah, I got them in B tier. Like
What?
I can't put too many people in A tier.
I mean, I thought we were just going 1 through 14.
Well, that's how I did it.
I like tiers.
That's how I did it.
Oh,
I
you
just
tiers.
I did
Alright.
I
I
did
didn't
it
do
I did it in like a tier way though. So I put Rodgers, Brady A tier, Mahomes, Burrow, Allen, and Murray B tier.
I still think that's kind of disrespectful to Mahomes, but we can keep going.
Talent wise, Mahomes is the best quarterback in the league, but I can't. He started off rocky.
That's fair. This season, if we're just going off of this season, I
and
can
then
see it.
these are all playoff quarterbacks, so I'm not gonna have like a D tier and everything. I got a B minus tier. So I had Derek Carr starts that off, and then Dak Prescott, and then Ryan Tannehill, and then Mac Jones.
Where's Kyler?
I put Kyler was in the B tier.
Oh,
He
okay.
was right under. He was
Oh,
with
okay,
he was
okay.
with Burrow, Allen, and him. They're interchangeable for me. So I got Derek Carr, and then I got Dak, and I got Ryan Tannehill, and I got Mac, and I got Stafford just because I've
you
seen
got Stafford under Mac Jones.
I've seen Stafford literally lose games, like literally be the sole reason that the Rams have lost games.
You're putting
this
too
year.
much emphasis on the Detroit Lions, Matt Stafford.
Hmm?
Too much emphasis on the Detroit Lions.
No, I'm
Matt
talking
Stafford.
about this year. Like literally, he's the reason they lost last week to
It's
the
true,
49ers, bro.
I've
I mean,
seen
it's true,
Mac
but
Jones.
it's true, but like I don't think he's
Mac Jones. I don't think
ain't
Bill
no-
Belichick.
Ain't
I'm
no
saying
way
so.
that Matt
So
Stafford
for the
should
playoffs,
be that below
though, I don't
Mac
think
Stafford.
Bill Belichick's gonna let Mac Jones throw them out of the game, and that's why I don't.
And he won't be any reason why they'll probably come close to winning a game though.
That's a good point.
That's fair.
That's a good point.
I still got him above Matt Stafford. And then
So-
I got Jalen Hurts. And then I got Jimmy, and then the last quarterback. I didn't even want to say his name, but Ben Roethlisberger.
Well, at least we agree on one thing.
Ben Roethlisberger.
Yeah, I'll run through my list. I'm not gonna read the whole thing off like Nair did because you kind of set the precedent, right?
Right.
So like I'm only going to address the ones where I have guys higher or lower than
Gotcha.
sort of what you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
I likewise have Aaron Rodgers as the best quarterback in the league. He's just he's great. I'm not gonna gush about him too much. I actually have Mahomes over Tom Brady.
Ooh.
If we're just talking about quarterback capabilities right now, I like what Mahomes can do more than what Tom Brady can do. I think that while Tom is exceptionally talented and can lead a team in the playoffs, and it's hard to go against Brady in the playoffs, I think Mahomes' talent is going to elevate that team over games, and I don't know if Tom Brady necessarily has the ability to do that, especially with the limited receiving core that he has now. You still have Mike Evans, you still have Gronkowski, and Scotty Miller in them, but that Chris Godwin injury, I think, really, really, really hurt their playoff hopes.
They're gonna miss AB.
Oh yeah, and now AB's gone, so they're running out their limited. And I don't want to get into receiving cores because we're solely ranking quarterbacks, but Mahomes, outside of the first half of this season, has shown you nothing but I'm the best. I've arrived. I'm the best quarterback in the league, and I'm not going to go against that in this playoff run, except for the guy I think is actually going to win a ring this year, that being Aaron Rodgers. So, but with that being said, I have Tom Brady right under him. I have Tom Brady as the third best quarterback, and I'm putting him right above Josh Allen. I have Dak under Josh Allen. I'm going through the list now, but you know what I mean. Stafford, I sort of had in the middle tier there, and along with, he's sort of in that Kyler Murray, Derek Carr, Jalen Hurts tier for me.
You got Jalen Hurts that high?
I got Jalen Hurts that high, and for reasons I've already talked about. I think Jalen Hurts' dynamic quarterback abilities, his ability to run the ball, puts him above the bottom four guys that I have, which is Tannehill, Jimmy G, Mac Jones, and Ben Roethlisberger.
So you had Hurts at 10?
Yeah,
that's what I was about to say. That's what I had him too.
I have him around
I had him at 11, but
I have him around that 9. I have him around 9-8.
Yeah, I was about to say I had Stafford at 9. I think that's interchangeable because I think you can argue that Hurts, even though obviously passing wise, but I just think Hurts I think he makes the Eagles go, because if you think about, even though number one rushing team, you always have to respect. I'm about to say you have to respect the quarterback.
You do. I have enough respect for Stafford's passing abilities, even though it struggled in the past couple weeks.
Yep.
I have enough respect for Stafford as a quarterback and field general to put him ahead of Jalen Hurts.
The reason I had Hurts kind of low, and Eagles are my team, and I don't want to sound like I'm hating on Jalen Hurts because I'm not. I just don't know if we're gonna let Jalen Hurts throw the ball that much, and I respectfully, I don't see why we would. We have a great running game. That's just why I had him so low. It's not like much on Jalen Hurts. It's just more like we're just gonna run the ball, and that's pretty much what we're gonna do. We're gonna run the ball down people's throats. So,
obviously, me, I got Rodgers number 1. I think he's been playing at an extremely high level. Touchdown interception ratios absurdly high. Instead of Mahomes at 2, I have Brady at 2 because I just can't count out Tom Brady. Mr. He does the most with less around him. So,
if he does it, let me just say this: if Tom Brady pulls out something again this postseason, he doesn't even have to beat the Packers. But if it's just competitive,
that's great.
Drug testing.
I don't know. I don't know how I can possibly give more respect to Brady, because I think he's the greatest of all. While not being the best quarterback of all time, he's the greatest.
Yeah.
For him to even be, I think he's 45 years old, 44, something like that. For him to even be in this position and us talking about it right now is absolutely crazy. So I have nothing but respect for the guy, but I can't put him ahead of Mahomes, because to me it's almost like putting Jerry Rice over Randy Moss in 2001. That's kind of how it feels to me. While Jerry Rice was still kicking butt early 2000s, which is crazy, for me it's the talent just outweighs it, and that's what I think is really going to shine this postseason.
Let me reiterate. I don't think Tom Brady's better than Patrick Mahomes, more talented at all. Not at this stage in his career. I just think for this playoff run, I think we're gonna see a different Tom. Well, not a different Tom Brady, but the Tom Brady that won 7 rings.
He's gonna have his LeBron. He's putting on playoff mode.
Mm-hmm. He's going 0 dark 30.
So I got obviously Mahomes number 3. I got Kyler number 4. I'm really high on Kyler. Obviously dual threat, but he's really talented as a passer as well. I think him hopefully pulling the upset against, I don't know if you can call it upset because they're pretty tick for tack this year, but pulling the win over the Rams, I think people will see why I would have him number 4. Number 5, got Josh Allen. 6, I will have Dak. 7, Burrow. 8, Carr. Then you got Stafford, then Hurts at 9 and 10. Then 11, Tannehill, not super high on him.
I'm not high on Tannehill either. I was expecting more out of him this season, and I get his receiving core has been hurt, but he's quietly.
For me,
What?
oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say he's quietly had like a career, not even quietly. He's had a career resurgence, a great second life with the Titans.
Oh, most
but,
definitely.
You know, I think a lot of what he does is really in the structure of the offense, and it's hard to have faith with him. Even though they're the 1 seed, they're arguably the worst, most uninspiring 1 seed I've ever seen.
So that's why I kind of got like 10. That's kind of why I was high on Tannehill. Like after losing Derrick Henry, for you to go out there and give him a comeback gift of a first round bye, like
that's incredible.
I love that for Ryan Tannehill.
What's more incredible is Derek Carr. I think Derek Carr is more incredible. Than
He's a
Ryan
better
Tannehill.
player, but he better.
When you talked about like incredible as far as like what Ryan Tannehill did,
Oh yeah.
Derek Carr, I think, supersedes that. But that plays part of what I'm gonna talk about later. But
I don't think the Titans could have did this with like a Marcus Mariota back there.
Oh,
You know?
no.
I think Ryan Tannehill came in and did his job like expeditiously. Like this is a great year for him.
And then,
Really?
For me, for what the Titans did, like after Derrick Henry got hurt, I was like, yo, they're done.
For the injuries that they've received at wide receiver, you know, with
And then
Julio was did nothing this year, and you know AJ Brown, I think they only got him back for a little bit.
He's on my fantasy team, bro. You see how that went.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I have a lot of respect for Tannehill, but it's hard for me. I might move him up over Hurts, but I can't move him past Carr.
Yeah, Ryan Tannehill, I don't think he moves the needle, but it doesn't kill you at the same time.
Their coach, honestly, is who I have more respect for. I think Vrabel's a top 5
really
coach.
good. Yeah.
He's an excellent
So
coach.
you had Carr over Dak, or you had Dak over Carr?
I had Dak over Carr.
I have Dak over Carr too.
And then at number 12, I have Jimmy G. 13, I have Mac Jones, and then obviously 14, Big Ben.
Y'all got Mac Jones real low.
Mac Jones
He's
and
not moving the needle,
yeah,
bro.
Mac Jones and Ben Roethlisberger are wrestling for that.
He's doing all right.
He's not. I mean, no, I just can't. So
I think Mac Jones will move up these rankings. Let me just say the fact that he's in the playoffs as a rookie, I didn't see that coming.
No, I didn't either.
So I have a lot of respect for Mac Jones. He's representing the dad bod quarterback, which has been a lost art with all of these super cut, hyper athletic, two dual threat quarterbacks that have come in. I like to see the Eli Manning, Tom Brady dad bod. I love it. But it's hard to put him anywhere above like 10th on this list because while he's come out and had really good games, the base medium for him is like 150 yards, maybe a touchdown and a pick.
Yep.
And a lot of the other quarterbacks on this list are giving you more than that.
Well, to me, he got
Tannehill
by
is.
far like the worst weapons on this list.
Oh, I agree.
So that's why I'm kind of high on Mac Jones making it even this far with. I mean, he's throwing to a bunch of lawn chairs, bro.
Yeah. He kind of reminds me a lot of Carson Carson Wentz the year where they just had Travis Fulgham and
J.J. Whiteside, Ortega.
Oh my gosh.
Whiteside, yeah, man.
Just horrible.
Mr. Offensive Pass Interference, that's his name.
Carson should be here. I almost put him on my list over Ben and just pretended like Ben wasn't in the playoffs.
All right, so leading to organizations, because you were just talking about support around the quarterback. Let's talk about head coaching vacancies. Obviously, we got news today that David Culley from Texans got released or fired, whichever you want to put it. So let's go over. I think we should go over which organization looks the most appealing.
So it's when you're talking about what organization is most appealing. It's to what coach. I think the coach says a lot about the destination. And I guess I'm going to use this as an opportunity to sort of transition while we're talking about this into what the Dolphins did, which is arguably to me the dumbest firing. And granted, the more stuff that's come out about it, it makes a little bit more sense. But what I think is going to be looked at in history as a really stupid firing because I think of the possibility of what could happen here. Brian Flores came into a Dolphins organization that was terrible. inherited a team that, while they have good players, like Xavier Howard's a great secondary player, offensively their receiving core is pretty damn good. But he's sort of inherited a team that's uninspired. Mm-hmm. And while they've gone 500 just about in sequential seasons, 2 500 seasons is not enough to fire a coach, in my opinion.
Especially for the
not
Dolphins.
For a team that's been historically bad for like the last.
Yeah, not for the Dolphins.
They won like 8 of their last 9, I think, right? Something like that.
Yeah, so they started out this year. I was like, oh, he's gonna get fired. I mean, they started out 1-7, and they are the only team, I believe, in the Super Bowl era to knock off 8 straight wins after going like 1-7 in history.
Yeah, I don't know how you fire somebody after that.
That says a ton about the coach and his ability to inspire, get his players playing football. Because when you're 1-7, and I know, me and Tay, we've been on bad teams before, played football for a while. I've been on teams where you win like 1 or 2 games a year. When you're at that point mid-season and you have like 1 win and 5 losses,
you just shut down. Yeah,
you're like, all right, I'm going to go out and do my job, but it's very easy to, the other team scores a touchdown and you're, all right, well, same old. So I think Brian Flores is easily the best coach in this coaching hiring circle. And if I was the Giants, I'd be getting on the phone, asking him, his best friends, what music does he like? What can we play in the coaching hiring cycle to get him? Does he like trips on yachts? Anything to do to get him to New York. But I actually believe the best destination for Brian Flores and where he's going to end up is the Chicago Bears.
You think the Chicago Bears is a appealing destination though?
I do think it's an appealing destination. Let me explain why. For Brian Flores, I believe it's an appealing destination. They have a lot of star players on both sides of the ball that I think makes it an appealing destination to walk into. The entire time he was with the Fins, or at least this season, you sort of saw the whole thing with Tua Tagovailoa deteriorate. Even though Tua's a average quarterback.
Yeah.
To me, he's sort of in the same category with like Baker, which I'm sure we will talk about Baker some other time. I'll get into him. But he wanted to upgrade, and Brian Flores, I think, knows more than anyone else. In order to make noise as a football team and get over that hump of being a 500 ball club, we need a quarterback who can come in here and makes the defense actually have to game plan against it. And you don't have to game plan against Tua. So going to the Bears with Justin Fields, who I thought was an outstanding draft pick for them. Justin Fields, I think, is very similar to the type of player Watson is. I think they both have cannons for an arm. Watson's a much better passer than Fields is at this point in his career. But if you can get some receivers, and I think you go in there, it's an easy job. Shore up the offensive line and develop Justin Fields, and they're going to be a perennial playoff team, especially in that division.
You got Rodgers getting old.
You have Rodgers. You don't know if he's going to be back there next season. You have the Vikings, who just fired their head coach and are probably entering a rebuild, and Kirk Cousins is uninspiring, despite being pretty good.
You don't like that?
I like Cousins. I like Cousins, but I don't think that they can necessarily get a coaching hire that's going to walk in there and change things. And if I was Flores, I don't want to walk in with an average quarterback.
No.
I want to walk in with a quarterback that has top 10 capabilities, and I think Justin Fields has the talent to be an all-pro caliber quarterback. So I think with Flores, and the most appealing destination for him as being the best coaching hire in the league is unquestionably the Bears. And I think the Bears would give him the control that he needs to operate.
So going off of Brian Flores, I think he's premier coaching candidate.
Absolutely.
I think, at least for me, when you look at it, for a coaching standpoint, you want, security in a way. You might want some power in a way, or just like, he say what as far as like personnel decisions and stuff. Initially, I would have thought the Jaguars, but then like I don't like how their organization is run.
For Flores,
yeah.
I think Jaguars is a terrible spot.
But I was thinking the Houston Texans. But hear me out with this one. we knew that Deshaun Watson was enticing the deal to the Dolphins because of Brian Flores.
True.
So if the Texans can do two things, they can either try to amend the relationship by bringing in Brian Flores, who's obviously a really good coach, or they can still trade Watson, get a hell of a ton of picks, which they already have 2 in the first round already. That's not including the stockpile of picks that they can get for Watson. And there was rumors, you can say what you want about rumors, but it could possibly happen that Watson would waive his no trade clause for the New York Giants. And New York Giants have 2 picks in the top 15. So that's like, what, 4 picks in the top 15?
Yeah, but then
they can retool their whole team.
It's true.
Under Davis Mills, even I would respect Davis Mills because he had a pretty solid rookie season to his standards. And plus, you're in a division with the Jaguars. Just throw them out under the bus. The Colts are a really good team, and then you still got the Tennessee Titans, obviously. But I think if you're promoting him that we will give you security, I think about year 3 with the Texans, with all them picks that they have, whether they keep Watson or not, they will be a playoff team in my opinion.
So I kind of see where you're coming from, and that's actually an interesting point. I've never even considered the possibility of Brian Flores coaching Deshaun Watson with the Texans or entering that situation. My only concern with it is you talk about job security, and I don't think it's a secure position. The team is in shambles right now. I mean, outside of Watson, I can't necessarily think of any position or thing that they do well. Part of that is coaching, but part of that really just is the personnel and the team's really bad.
Yeah.
And if you're Flores trading Deshaun Watson and getting a boatload of picks, well, you're just in the same position you were just in with the Dolphins, where you have a lot of picks, a really bright future, but I think he's sort of like a win-now quarterback or coach, rather. And when I was sitting sort of thinking about it, it reminds me a lot of not his predecessor, but his mentor. It kind of reminded me of like a Bill Belichick, who was a 500 average coach with the Browns, but you knew something was there. And so then he ended up going to the Patriots with Bledsoe and then eventually Brady at quarterback. And when he got his quarterback, he was already a great defensive coach. And so it was just a match made in heaven in a really poor division. And I think with the Bears, it kind of gives him the opportunity to do that with Fields. And the question just is does Brian Flores have faith in Justin Fields? Because out of all of these coaching vacancies, it to me is the only spot with a young, inspiring quarterback and numerous positions that have stars in them. The Jaguars also is a very enticing position because of Trevor Lawrence, but the team's terrible.
Yeah.
So I was gonna say until Robinson got hurt, I would have said the Jaguars were the most enticing free agency team, just because of the like potential. You know, James Robinson just turned 23, and then you got like a supposedly generational talent in Trevor Lawrence. There isn't much to say about Brian Flores that hasn't already been said. It was stupid. He should still be the coach of the Miami Dolphins today. So I'm not going to talk about Brian Flores. I'm going to talk about Doug Peterson and why I feel like he should probably. I mean, I still feel like the Jaguars are enticing free agent coach.
I think it's a good spot for.
I think that's
Doug.
a good spot for him.
I think it's similar to Doug coming into Philly in 2016 and having a young quarterback, a young Carson Wentz, who's ready to figure out how can I become a star quarterback in this league.
Yeah, and if I recall, the Eagles, that was following the Chip Kelly era.
Yeah.
The team was pretty much in shambles.
We lost we traded, we traded everybody that offseason,
Yeah,
got rid of everybody.
and then they retooled and became a good team. I like Doug Peterson to Jacksonville a lot. I think that's a really good match. I have heard that there's been talks of Jim Harbaugh coming out of college coaching into the NFL.
For the Jags?
Not for the Jags. There's only one team that I think Jim Harbaugh would come out of college to coach, and that's the New York Giants.
Speaking of the Giants, I think that's a terrible.
Oh, it's a horrible situation.
Because I checked over the cap or something like that. Over the cap, under the cap, whichever you want to go by. I think they have under $10 million in salary cap.
Oh, they can't retool the team.
They can't retool the team.
They
Number
just
one,
have to hope,
and do we even believe in Daniel Jones?
Nope. Danny Dimes.
And then, not to mention, their first-round pick, Saquon Barkley, is in a contract extension year where he's been obviously unavailable, obviously due to injury, of course. But I think if you look at their offense, I think they have talent, obviously, especially at the wide receiver position. Sterling Shepard, Kenny Galladay, and Kadarius Toney.
Kadarius Toney is the only.
He's a playmaker.
He's a playmaker. He literally torched Dallas for like 180 yards. But like I think they have they have talent at the skill positions.
Yeah.
The offensive line needs a lot of work. The quarterback obviously needs a change, and then their defense. I think their defense is capable. It's just that when your offense is so bad and you're on the field so much, there's nothing
defense
for you there
to
do.
Out there. Your offense do anything.
The Giants, James Bradberry, their cornerback, has been incredibly underrated since he's played with the Panthers.
Yeah,
I like a lot of the pieces that they have on defense. If I recall, Jabril Peppers is still there as well.
Yeah, and they also got Xavier McKinney, the safety from Bama, for a couple years
like
ago.
their secondary is they've always been a blue collar defensive team that's solid in like B+, A- in numerous positions, and I think that they're one or two really good draft picks away from being an elite defensive unit, and also not having to be on the field because your team runs 2 quarterback sneaks on your goal line back to back. Which I mean, let me just say this for a moment. Joe Judge is as uninspiring as a coach as Freddie Kitchens was, and it was a complete disaster. It was not a good idea from the start. But regarding Jim Harbaugh, and this is like a Hail Mary for the Giants. This is the only way that I see them getting anyone inspiring at the coaching position. Almost anyone else outside of Brian Flores that they bring in, I just don't see necessarily moving the needle. But I do think Jim Harbaugh, what sort of makes him tick, and watching him at Michigan, and especially watching him when he was with the 49ers and originally took that position, he, more than any other coach I think I've seen in the 21st century, absolutely loves the spotlight. And I think destination plays a big part with him, and him coaching a team in the Big Apple and making them relevant. I think for him, legacy means a lot, and there's nothing necessarily like winning in the NFL level, and winning a chip for the Giants would make him a legend forever.
Almost definitely.
Go ahead.
I was about to say, with the Giants, I don't want to be a NFC East homer. I think people give the NFC East a bad rep. I think they're not the greatest division, but they're not the worst.
I actually think they're
historically we're a pretty good division.
But
they're always competitive.
If you look at the NFC East, if you want to look at it now, I'm going to try to be unbiased, but I might sound biased because I'm a Dallas fan. Present day, you can say Dallas has the NFC East, just present day.
Yeah.
But I think for the foreseeable future, I think the Eagles are to be reckoned with. All them draft picks, they have like 3 this year.
Got 3 in the
so
first
they
round.
can retool. They can retool their offense, get some weapons around Jalen Hurts to see if he's the quarterback. Build a little bit on the defense because Fletcher Cox is getting a little bit up there. Insurance policy for Darius Slay because I think he's like in his late 20s, even though that's not really.
Yeah, he's starting to enter that downturn.
So
cornerback.
like those 3 picks, as long as Howie Roseman does not mess it up, shout out to Justin Jefferson.
Shout out to Jalen Rager. Yeah.
But as long as the Eagles do, if they can have a B+ draft, I think they're going to be reckoned with for the foreseeable future and on present day because they got the team.
I think
right
they're
now.
good. I loved what they did in the draft this year. I thought Devontae Smith was an excellent draft pick, and I thought them trading their assets to the Bears to be able to recoup a first round this year. There was a point in time this season, especially when the Finns and the Bears were doing bad, where it looked like, oh my God, the Giants are going to have 3 picks in the top 10.
Oh, the Eagles.
Or my bad, the Eagles. The Eagles are going to have 3 picks in the top 10. And it's turned into they're going to have, probably a 20 pick and then a couple of late teens picks. But you can still do stuff with that. Yeah.
And then you got the Washington football team. I think I just think they're a quarterback and just opposite to Terry McLaurin, receiver away from being a pretty, I'm going to just say average for right now. Pretty average to good team. But I just think for right now, since the Giants are so against the cap, and right now, obviously, I don't believe this is a great quarterback class, would Jim Harbaugh be willing to wait 4 years, like maybe year 3, maybe even year 4 into his coaching career with the Giants to even beat the number 2 team in the NFC East?
No, but I do think he could come in and say, look, we need to trade everything in the house for Deshaun Watson, and I can do something with that. And that's the conditional for signing with them is, hey, Jim Harbaugh has always been, I'm in here, I'm making GM moves, I'm basically running this football team. And so if he goes in there and is able to get a quarterback like Deshaun Watson, assuming he's available with all the issues that he's having, I think the pieces are already there. They're just a couple offensive linemen away from being a 10, 11 win football team.
Yeah, to your point, I was going to say it don't even got to be Deshaun Watson. I think this is Russell Wilson's last year in Seattle.
Russ too.
You think he could he could entice? They get Jim Harbaugh. I'm pretty sure they could entice.
I'm
sure Sierra would like New York too.
I think Jim Harbaugh on a football team is as enticing as possible for veteran quarterbacks to want to go there. I think you look at what he did to Alex Smith. You look at what his track record was with Colin Kaepernick. I mean, a Super Bowl appearance. Was it 3 NFC championships straight? Granted, those 49ers teams were some of the best football teams of the last decade.
But you get a quarterback, and then you could build a team like that.
Yeah, I was about to say, if you can tell me that either Russ or Deshaun Watson's going over there,
it's an enticing spot. All of this is under the assumption that Jim Harbaugh actually wants to go to New York. If that doesn't happen, I don't see them getting some uninspired coordinator. The only coordinator I think in this coaching cycle that is appealing to me is the Chiefs' offensive coordinator. I believe his name is Eric Bieniemy. He is great, and I do like him a lot, but I don't think he necessarily comes with the poise or the moxie that a Jim Harbaugh has. Granted, I do think if you are able to get him and a quarterback like Russell Wilson and Deshaun Watson, you're able to do very similar things that you're doing with Patrick Mahomes in New York.
Yeah, but I remember Watson's had high praise for Eric Bieniemy because he wanted him to be the head coach for Houston Texans.
Yeah.
So
that actually could be a match as well. I could see the Giants doing that.
So I think that concludes our NFL piece for this podcast, but we're gonna head over to some basketball because
NBA talk.
Yeah, any days after Christmas, that's when the season officially starts, right?
Yeah, pretty much. So it's usually the All-Star game, and that starts kicking up, and that's what we're getting towards. I think the All-Star game's like a week or 2 away.
Yeah. So speaking of the All-Star game, we got some All-Star teams, so we're gonna. Now you want to start us off with your starters for the East and West?
So I took a screenshot of mine. I submitted some votes today. Votes were double today.
Yeah.
I got my I guess I started off with the West. My front court, I don't think there's any controversy here. I had Jokic, LeBron James, and I had Paul George for what he was doing. I think that's probably my most controversial pick in this whole thing.
Paul George,
and only because he's been hurt recently. But when he was playing, he was clearly, he was the Clippers' engine. The Clippers started falling off after he got hurt.
I think he's worthy of the starting spot.
My backups, I think I got Ja Morant. I just say I got Ja Morant and I got Donovan Mitchell. And somebody gonna look at me crazy because I don't got Steph Curry in there
or Luka.
I don't got Luka over Donovan. The Jazz is significantly better than the Mavericks to me. I got Donovan. He's the engine of that team to me.
You don't have Steph Curry in.
Listen.
So
Steph Curry's gonna get enough votes.
Let's be clear.
Steph Curry's gonna get enough votes.
This is yours, right?
Yeah, this is.
Okay, I was about to say because if this ain't gonna be.
This
real
ain't what
life
I think. Yeah, this ain't what I think is gonna happen.
Not let that happen.
This is not what I think. I know Steph Curry's gonna be a starter. I already know that. But what Ja Morant's been doing recently, especially because they just whooped the Warriors' ass the other day. I like what Ja Morant's doing for such a young player this year is ridiculous.
Remind you of Derrick Rose?
Yeah, a lot of Derrick Rose in there, a lot of AI in there.
Oh yeah,
a lot of AI in there. It looks crazy.
Right.
And then we go to the East. The East, I don't think I have any controversy. It's my backcourt, Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan. For some reason, they got DeMar DeRozan guard. I thought he was playing forward this year, but
no, they're both guards. Someone said something. Let me ask you guys this. Someone said that they're the best guard combination.
Well, Lonzo's running the one. So that's why I'm like, yo.
I sort of see what you mean.
You know what I'm saying? But I mean, it don't matter.
I mean, they have. I'm pretty sure they have DeRozan out there as the small forward, even though.
Yeah. I mean, I see he's been at the 4 some games. He's been at the 2 some games. So it just depends on who they play. But yeah, my backcourt, Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan, it's the best duo in the league right now. What they're doing in Chicago is special. I'm happy for Zach LaVine especially because he's finally gonna get a playoff berth, and we finally gonna see what Zach LaVine doing in the playoffs. Front court is pretty self-explanatory. We'll get into this later. We got my MVP right now, KD. We got my MVP runner-up, Giannis. And then we got Joel Embiid. He's the second best center in the league to me. So
it's interesting for me that that you didn't have Steph in there. I think that's incredibly sacrilegious. I'm still pulling it up here, but my West All-Star team is very similar to yours, except the 2 guards that I have are I think it's obviously Ja Morant and Steph Curry, in my opinion. For the East, it's very similar to what you have as well, except I could see Zach LaVine. Yeah, probably Zach LaVine and DeMar.
He's averaging 26 right now.
Yeah, it's the thing that's impressive about Zach LaVine. And when I made this list originally, I had Trae Young ahead of Zach LaVine. Yeah. But what's been interesting about Zach LaVine, and where I'm actually going to change my opinion on it, he's an underrated 3-point shooter. He's actually shooting something like I believe it's over 41% this year on like more than 3 threes a game. And the Bulls, I believe, are the only team in the league that have 2 guys who are both shooting over 41%. And it's actually Lonzo Ball and Zach LaVine, which is crazy. It's nuts to me that there was this huge swath of people that have sort of come out and been like, oh, well, where did we see this DeMar DeRozan thing coming from? All these articles that were being made when he was originally signed saying, it's the worst free agency signing in the league. I think it was unquestionably one of the best. I remember when he was signed and we were talking within our, sports group circle, well, where are the Bulls sitting? And I was almost unanimous in saying they're probably going to be a top 4 seed in the league because I thought they were stacked. I thought Lonzo's signing was great.
I had them like being like 4. I didn't think they were going to be this good.
Oh, I
knew they were going to be good. I knew they were going to be good.
I thought they would be like number 4 in the East.
I thought so too. I did not think it was going to be this good. For the record, I'm not sitting here saying I called it, but I didn't think DeMar DeRozan would come out looking like the second coming of Michael Jordan, hitting like 2 back-to-back game winners or something like that. And I mean, he's definitely played over the level that I thought they were going to be. But I thought overall they were as complete of a team as any, and they have one of the best off seasons I can think of in recent memory. Without trading for a superstar or signing, like Kawhi Leonard or some superstar, they came out and had a fantastic off season.
Yeah, Lonzo was really like turned. Like, you remember when Lonzo couldn't shoot?
Oh yeah.
Oh, he's completely turned it around
tremendously.
I mean, he's going to probably be the benchmark for years to come when a guard comes in the league and can't shoot at all. They're going to say, well, look at Lonzo. Lonzo, he's
going to Jason Kidd, bro.
Yeah, I was about to say, just like Jason Kidd did.
Absolutely. So that's my East looks the same. It's Giannis, it's the KDs, it's
Joel Embiid.
Embiid. I mean,
that's pretty self-explanatory.
I think the All-Star is pretty easy to pick this year in the East. I think the West it is more loaded than it usually is. I mean, I think you're also going to see the same thing happen this year where somehow Rudy Gobert and Donovan Mitchell are going to make it in, and they deserve it.
Donovan's at like 26 a game himself.
Yeah, Donovan. I mean, they both deserve it because, Rudy Gobert's, obviously always going to be in DPO, Defensive Player of the Year talk. So.
Unfortunately, but yeah.
Sadly.
But yeah, it's very similar looking, but I mean, like, come on, Steph.
I already know Steph Curry's gonna start. It's like that's why I didn't vote for him. I didn't want to take the easy way out.
I think I saw Klay had like a number of votes. He hasn't even played yet.
He's top 5 in guards.
That's
top
crazy.
5.
That's crazy.
Shout out Derrick Rose. He up there.
Yeah.
He ain't played, but he up there.
In the West, I got Shai Gilgeous-Alexander.
Ooh.
It's like, nah, obviously.
I'm about to say.
Please vote for Shea Gilgeous-Alexander for the All-Star game. Hopefully, he can get a reserve spot. Tough hill to climb, but we'll get there.
He deserves it. If the league wasn't as stacked as it is right now,
Stat wise, yeah, he'd be in it.
Yeah,
he'd be in
yeah.
it. I mean, if this was taking place 5 years ago, SGA's in it, but unfortunately.
But to be a realist, I got Ja Morant and Stephen Curry for my backcourt. Front court, I got someone that y'all did not point to. I have obviously Bron, Jokic, but I have Draymond at the 4.
Oh,
I'm assuming because I think Paul George's not going to be able to play the All-Star game because I think he might shut it down. If he doesn't shut it down, I don't think he's going to participate.
You got
in the All-Star
Draymond
game.
in the All-Star game.
Yeah,
I like that
because
I'll be honest.
Like if you think about it, what power forward wise, you could think about stats. You be like, oh, Karl Anthony Towns, but I don't.
well, Draymond's my
so.
defensive player of the year. And
Yeah,
we'll talk about that later too. But like, I don't know, All-Star.
I think he will. I mean, partially because fans love Draymond.
Yeah.
And then I just think he'd do really good for the West in the All-Star game. Just have him initiate a little bit. You got Ja, just running the floor, and you got spacing and whatnot. Because obviously Bron's hitting the 3 pretty well this year. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, well, I'm not gonna turn into the Lakers
3.
LeBron thing, but I didn't see him playing at the level he's playing at this year, and we'll talk about it. I think later in the show with one of our other segments, but
So Brady-esque.
a well-deserved All-Star game. It definitely doesn't feel like it does with like the Dirk or the Kobe All-Star game selections, where it's like, they kind of get in there because of fan support.
Yeah.
Despite having like mediocre seasons. LeBron has well deserved. I think I saw something. It was a graphic where it was like 09. The 09 scoring leaders were KD and LeBron, and we're almost 12 years later, and they're the 1 and 2 points per game leaders in the league, which is absolutely insane to think about.
So
yeah, I'm not like the hugest LeBron fan, but what he's doing this year is just absolutely ridiculous. Like, you got to give it up to LeBron. Like,
it's admirable.
Just,
yeah.
It's ridiculous, and it sucks. It sucks that the rest of the team isn't doing so hot, because like this is one of LeBron's best years, and this is like this far into his career. This is like probably a top 7 year for LeBron. Like, this stretch that he's put on for like these last 15 games,
so efficient.
ridiculous.
But the one thing about LeBron, could you just imagine if his career free throw shooting is, but kind of like with this year, hovering around. I think he's like 78. I think he's like 78% from the line this year.
And it's
but
weird.
like, imagine if he was at 80%.
I mean, that's another like
that's another like 2-3 points a game.
You're kind of doing like this is like the Shaq thing, where although Shaq's the extreme version of it, I think LeBron career wise is what, like 67, 68.
I think he might be around about 70%.
It's like 70 basically.
Yeah.
Well, the thing with Bron though, it's fluctuated. Like, you've seen years he shot like 66%, and he's had years he shot damn near 80. So.
It was weird. With the Heat, it felt like he was great.
Yeah.
With the Cavs, it felt like he was terrible, and with the Lakers, the championship year and the year prior, it was like around 60, 65, 68. This year,
I attribute it to him getting like he's doing a lot more in games, so he's probably tired. Getting to the line.
Yeah,
he's tired.
Yeah,
that's all it is.
For the East, I would have Zach LaVine in my backcourt alongside DeMar DeRozan, but I just don't see him as the point guard. So I got Trae Young in there.
You and me are on the same boat.
I was about to say, shout out to Darius Garland. I love him as a player. I think he should be in the All-Star game. He's playing extremely well for the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Do we have time to do like a a second All-Star team? Because it's I mean, we don't have to like go through it real quick. Like, there's a couple of people
like 3 reserves maybe.
Yeah, some key reserves.
Just some shout outs.
Yeah,
we can do that.
All right.
So I got
shout out Steph Curry. Shout out Steph Curry. You wearing my starter.
I'm about to say he's not returning that shout out. You put him on the reserves. But I got DeRozan at the 2. Incredible season. Defying all the media from saying about him being a minus as a free agent acquisition. Obviously Durant, Giannis, my 2 MVP front runners, and then you got Embiid, the most dominating opposing big man in the league. So, yeah.
It's fair. Unless Nair has.
Oh, so shout out Devin Booker. Suns being number 1 in the West right now.
Oh, shout out Chris Paul.
Shout out Chris Paul. side-eyed him a little bit, but shout out Chris Paul, shout out Devin Booker.
I was expecting a drop-off this year, and it has been slight, but Chris Paul is still playing at an elite level, and they have them, if I'm not mistaken, second in that conference.
Yeah.
I thought they were first. They
No,
They got
Warriors
9
are
wins.
Warriors
second.
are first.
Warriors are first. Suns are second.
Yeah.
Memphis is third.
If
And then Utah's
if
fourth.
it isn't, it's I believe the first, second, and third seeds are like one game.
Yo,
apart.
right now it's Phoenix, Golden State, Memphis, Utah.
Oh, all right, yeah.
Yeah. Phoenix.
Chris Paul has them
most
first.
definitely
They got
gonna be
them
the
first.
Sun- It's going to be the Suns definitely after this game. So
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think both Chris Paul and Devin Booker deserve.
Yeah,
so wait,
as-
is Chris Paul included in your shout out for the reserves or
Yeah,
no?
shout out Chris Paul.
Okay.
Shout out Chris Paul, of course.
We only got one more.
Shout out Tyler Hero in the East.
I thought you were gonna get one more for the West. 3.
One more for the West. One more for the West. I gotta get one real quick.
You say Donovan Mitchell?
No, he's in my starters.
Oh,
He's in my
using
starters. He's in my
Yeah.
starters. Shout out Luka.
There we go.
Shout out
Yeah,
Luka.
that's
He
great.
can't. He did. He's the Mavs aren't better than the Jazz right now. Donovan Mitchell's having a great year. I don't know if this is his career best year because last year he had a great year too. But shout out Donovan Mitchell. Shout out Luka. Sorry you didn't make it in my starters, but you right there. You on the cusp, bro. Y'all just gotta
I'm
do a little
surprised you
bit.
can get a shout out to Anthony Edwards.
It's not there yet. I think.
I know, but I know he's a big fan.
If the Timberwolves were winning games, and Edwards absolutely, but
That's fair.
I can't do it.
How about you, Nick? Oh, for the East, my bad.
Oh, you good? The East will go Trae Young. Shout out Trae Young. What you're doing down there is crazy. Shout out Tyler Hero, my 6th man of the year. He's 21 points per game, I think, off the bench.
Yeah,
That's ridiculous.
21-22, yeah.
That's ridiculous. Shout out Darius Garland. And y'all gonna look at me funny when I say this because I've been a big criticizer of him. But shout out LaMelo Ball in Charlotte.
Okay.
Charlotte's.
There we
I
go.
thought Charlotte was gonna be a playing team. I think they're like 5th or 6th right now.
Yeah.
Shout out LaMelo Ball. He's like running the show down there, and they got a good team, y'all.
Yeah.
They got a good team.
Athletic.
A lot of people are like scoring. Like
Yeah.
they got Miles Bridges looking like T-Mac out there. They got fucking Miles Bridges, Gordon Hayward's out there doing his thing. Terry
Miles
Rozier.
Bridges is arguably most improved player. I thought he was great last year.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I mean, he's really stepped it up. He's one of the most electric forwards to watch in the league.
Oh, yeah.
I love watching Miles Bridges, especially him with LaMelo on the Hornets commentary team. You'd think it was like Game 7 of the finals.
Oh my God!
Yeah, nah, they're excited. Like they're probably my most fun team to watch right now.
Yeah, I love it. I love it.
It's about you.
You
You
know
up
what they're
next?
giving?
You up next, Nico?
Yeah, I could just give a couple of shout outs. Trae Young, I already talked about. Between him and Zach LaVine, I think all 3 of those guards, Trae, DeMar, Zach, all belong in the All-Star game. Trae Young has really just been surprising to me. I not that I didn't think he wasn't going to be good, but I mean, if Steph Curry wasn't in the league, Trae Young is arguably the best small guard in the league. I mean, he really, for the 6 foot or under guys, really makes a name for himself, and I think he's been carrying that Hawks franchise. It'll be interesting to see the pieces that they put around him. I do like Clint Capella with them as well, but I have Trae in there. After that, it gets kind of murky. I don't even want to give James Harden an all-star game slot with how he's been playing this year, but I feel like it's almost
Inevitable.
yeah. But if I had to pick someone else to go there, it would probably be Darius Garland. My West picks are very similar to Nair's. I mean, they're almost identical, so I'm not going to go through those. But if I had to do reserves, that would probably be my shout-outs if I had to give them. Also, Jimmy Butler. I think Jimmy Butler's been playing some of the best basketball of his life, ironically, when he's not
Really?
injured.
I felt like he was averaging like 17 this year.
No,
Butler?
No. Butler's having a pretty
Butler's
good. It's like
in the
25.
high 20s.
Yeah, he's like 25s. Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw something. He was having like a bad year, but I ain't
I
been
mean,
watching much.
he got injured not too long ago,
It was
so he
early.
might have
Yeah,
like
I
a
ain't
slow
really- I ain't been
It
return.
was the
watching,
injuries.
Yeah.
I ain't been watching too much Heat basketball after Bam went out.
I don't blame you. But Tyler Hero is
Tyler Hero's been holding it down.
Yeah.
Tyler Hero, Duncan Robinson, the Splash Crackers.
I mean, Splash Cracker. Duncan Robinson's having a little slump this year, I think, a little bit,
It's
especially
expected.
to his, to what people expected of him given the
His
contract
Kyle
extension.
Korver standards, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good player. It's a good role player. It's a bad contract.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The East, I got some Cavaliers love. Obviously, I talked about Darius Garland. Gotta give out to Evan Mobley. I love him. He's a do-it-all big.
Good ass pick.
Yeah, great pick.
Cavs are. I mean, I'm trying to think. They might be the most exciting young team to watch in the league.
Other than the
Hornets.
Grizzlies. Grizzlies are the second
Other
youngest
than
teams.
the Grizzlies.
Yeah.
The Grizzlies are the most exciting young team to watch in the league, but the Cavs are
I got
right
them
up
over
there.
the Hornets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's crazy to have.
I think
people-
outside of Ja.
Look, they got 3 7-footers in their starting lineup. 3.
Yeah.
That's crazy, bro.
Nah, it is.
They're good.
The triplet towers.
The Trey Towers.
But-
Yeah, no, I like the Cavs a lot. I like the Grizzlies a lot as well. They're both really young teams. It was interesting to see the narrative that LeBron would request a trade out of the Lakers to go join the Cavs. But unironically, I think LeBron on this Cavs team would probably be like the second seed in that conference right now.
Oh, yeah.
If you did it right now.
Brown running point over there.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, he could take over Colin
do his
Sexton, right?
he'd do his like point forward, power forward thing.
You got Darius Garland, just young Kyrie. He got the
You
head.
could just run Braun at the 1 and put
Yeah.
Garland at the 2.
Yeah.
Make him like
Like
he's not Kyrie, but Kyrie-esque off-ball guard.
I just
kinda
think the
thing.
defense, like LeBron generates offense. He just needs his team to play defense, and that's why the Lakers won the 2020 championship. If LeBron was on any team with elite defense or adequate defense, and just gave him guys who can generate offense or hit shots, like he'd win a ton of games. The issue is Westbrook doesn't play defense, and half the team is
He's not dropping 30 anymore.
yeah, and half the team's aged, and it's like they're letting 120, 130 points a game, and LeBron's putting up 30, but it means nothing. I mean, with all that being said, shout out Darius Garland, shout out John Morant, both two really electric young guards. I like them a lot.
Yeah, so East, I said Evan Mobley, Darius Garland, obviously Zach LaVine. I just couldn't put him at the point guard spot. West, similar to y'all, but I had, shout out Luka, shout out Mitchell, Donovan, and then shout out Booker. And
Sounds
then
like we
honorable
pretty much-
shout out to Shai Gilgeous-Alexander again.
We pretty much got a consensus.
It's fair. Yeah. I mean, it's pretty much it.
We
We'll
just
see.
all we did was just take them out of order.
Yeah.
We all got the same picks.
So we talked about a lot of MVP, specifically towards Giannis and KD, but we might have some other selections there. So it's only right for us to go to the award ladders. I'm going to try to do this on a bi-weekly basis because there's so many NBA games in the week, so I thought bi-weekly would be good for that. So let's start off with MVP. Who do y'all have?
All right, so I'll go first because it's also Nair's, but I have Kevin Durant as the league MVP, and I thought it was close between him and Steph, and I had KD up an inch. Steph, for some reason, got close to the record of hitting 3 points, and then has been in this slump and has kind of like sat there for a while. And I think with Steph Curry, he does have a chance of winning it this year. I don't think he's that far behind. But I don't think he's necessarily gaining up speed or momentum to take this award from KD.
Yeah.
When KD came back from his injury a year ago, I was on record for saying that I thought he was going to be outside the top 15 players in the league. I did not think that this resurgence that you're seeing with Kevin Durant was actually going to happen. It's arguably the most miraculous Achilles tear comeback I've ever seen.
Most
I mean,
definitely.
I don't think it's close.
yeah, it's not even close.
That's
I mean,
a career-ending injury, like
Especially for
10
someone as tall as
10
he
years
is.
ago.
He's
And
like 7 feet tall.
And he's arguably playing the best basketball of his life.
And it's like the most efficient he's been.
And the most minutes.
Yeah.
Throw it out there, too.
Yeah, and what he did last year, and I'm happy, first of all, I think the move he did to the Warriors, and we'll talk about this one day, I'm sure, is the most hated move ever, and I absolutely despise it. I think he's a coward for doing it. But what he did last year against the Bucks, completely depleted and essentially playing point guard in Game 6, getting like a 30 or 40 point triple double with what I thought was, if I recall, like 1 or 0 turnovers or something like that.
Yeah.
was absolutely magical, and he's carried that momentum over this year. I think he should be the by-all favorite to win the award this year. But I do have one player who I do think is gaining up speed on him, and if he ends up being the 1 seed in his conference or possibly the 2 seed, I could see Ja Morant making a case to get this award.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's good.
I
didn't think about it because I didn't expect the Grizzlies to be that. But yeah, if he has a legitimate case, if they even top 3, like,
if he wasn't injured, right,
Yeah.
and that 10-game stretch didn't happen where he was hurt, and he was just playing through the season, I think he'd be in the race right now, and you'd be hearing a lot more media coverage. First of all, the Grizzlies don't get adequate media. I think they just are starting to, but this has been a good team for a couple seasons now, and Ja has turned into arguably the best young player in the league. I mean, I think if I was starting a team outside of maybe Luka, maybe Giannis, I'm probably taking Ja, like, right behind those guys.
I'm taking Ja over Luka.
Ja over Luka? Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, you can call it because I'm believing the media, but even if you look at his demeanor in games, I don't like how he is with some of his teammates and stuff like that.
Luka.
You look at Ja with the Grizzlies, they all love him. Even ignore the fans of how they treated him when he was out. But
Which was stupid.
That's stupid, obviously.
Dumb.
They don't know
But
what
that team prides, everything they get, I think, is from Ja. They have so much swagger, so much grit, toughness. I think that's all predicated from Ja. So obviously, I would love to play with somebody like that.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, this guy goes up like he's trying to have a Vince Carter, Olympic game dunk. Every other game you watch this guy, and he's just trying to put someone on a poster. If I had to play against him, I would be terrified.
I'll stick my shoes to the ground. I'm not going up at all.
Oh, you're doing the Paul Pierce get out of the way.
He's still gonna dunk on you. You don't jump, he's still gonna.
I'm running up the lanes, man.
I get it. I have a lot of love for the way that Ja Morant plays basketball. It's what got me into watching basketball is high flying guards. But I think he's a lot like a perfect blend between young Westbrook and young Derrick Rose. And the only thing I can say about Ja is get good at shooting. If he becomes even a good 3-point shooter,
I think he's pretty good this year, though.
Oh, he is.
He's streaky.
I think
he's streaky, yeah.
He's floating around. And I'm not checking it, so it might be different than what I'm seeing. But I believe it's like mid-30s.
Yeah.
Yeah. If he becomes close to upper, 38, 39 in a season,
that's absurd.
It's absurd, and it's MVP worthy.
Yeah.
And that's sort of why I'm saying that I have him as a dark horse in this race, and I don't hear anyone talking. You hear Jokic, you hear LeBron. Granted, both definitely deserve to be in the conversation, but Ja having this team up, if it wasn't for the fact that he went out and they were still winning games, you'd be hearing his name a lot more. And I do think that he deserves mention in this conversation.
Nico said it earlier. We have pretty similar MVP picks, so everybody knows I'm a Nets fan. I'm trying to be unbiased, but what KD's doing right now, especially off an Achilles tear, and especially off of what he did last year and carrying that over into this year, it's ridiculous. He's averaging like 29 and 0.8 points per game, shooting above any upwards of 50% from the field or something like that. It's ridiculous. 40% from 3-point. It's crazy to me. I've never seen anybody come back from a career-ending injury. And I was in the same boat as Nico. I was like, yo, KD's going to come back. He's still going to be good. It's KD. He's 7 foot.
I thought you'd see him being carried by the pieces he put around him.
I thought Kyrie would be 26 points per game. KD would be 24, 23 points per game. No, he said, fuck that. He came back, scored 30 a game. This is ridiculous. I'm not going to talk too much about KD. We already spoke on KD a lot. So my number 2 and somebody that I could see getting their 3rd MVP this year, my boy Giannis, man. The only person, the reason KD didn't get a ring last year, Giannis, and his size 23
The reason
foot.
that KD didn't get a ring last year is because his big-ass foot, his size 18 shoe was on the line.
Yeah.
But,
Giannis is right there with him. Giannis, he ain't right there with him, but he could be by the end of the year. Depends how the Bucks finish. Yeah. Giannis is having a quietly, quiet good year.
I think this is gonna be a trend with Giannis,
Mm-hmm.
where we sit here and say he's having a quietly good year when he's just like.
I mean, it's his standard now. I think that's what it is. That's just what we
Casually
expect from him.
Yeah, casually like the best player.
Yeah,
in the league.
I think he's the best. I think he like overall he's the best player in the league this year.
Oh, defensively it's not close.
Yeah,
I mean, when you
two-way.
take into account two-way, he's the best two-way player in the league.
He's giving you a 40 minute, 29 point, 12 rebound, 6-7. He's averaging like the most assists he's ever averaged in his career this year, and he's playing D.
Yeah,
he's like probably my third or fourth in the race on the defensive player of the year. Like, it's ridiculous what Giannis is doing.
When it comes down to crunch time, though, there's no one else I'd rather have on defense than Giannis. Yeah, especially after last year. I mean, oh my gosh, not to draw too far off the fact, but Giannis in the finals that he had last season is arguably the best finals performance I've ever seen. Yeah. And when you take into context that he damn near bent his knee backwards in the conference finals.
Yeah.
It's up there for me in like it's him in that finals and LeBron in 2016, and those two sort of stand up to me in the last decade of finals performances.
Yeah. Speaking about Giannis, I was about to go with Giannis. I just want to be a little bit different. Just because I'm an OKC fan, I don't feel any different towards
so
KD.
You're going Giannis for MVP?
Yeah, because I love KD. I just want to be a little bit different. Obviously, I think he could be the MVP alongside Giannis. But I'm going with Giannis. I think, especially now that he's won the finals MVP, he's going to start entering the LeBron-esque phase of it, where it's like you have these players who have, granted, KD, amazing player. He should be an MVP, obviously. But say like another player of similar caliber would win the MVP.
Yeah, like say
Giannis.
Ja does what I'm talking about.
Yes.
And you'd sit here and be like, yeah, damn, Ja's the MVP. But, like, is he better than Giannis?
No.
Probably not.
But, like, I think Giannis is averaging like 26, 11, and 6. Those are absurd numbers, in my opinion. And then not the fact that his defensive rating and how he impacts the defensive end of the floor. I
think as we talk right now, I think they're like spanking the Warriors right now.
Yeah, we've had the Bucks game on in the background, and it just played a highlight of Giannis Euro step dunking on like Jordan Poole or something.
Yeah, so I think just to be different, I'm gonna just go with Giannis.
That's a good pick, honestly. If he hadn't won it 2 years, I think voter fatigue is the issue with him.
Yeah,
but honestly, both impact on both sides of the court. The only way that I can see Giannis winning this award is if they are close to the Nets. I think right now, and it's been primarily because of injury, they're in the middle of like the 4th or 5th seed in the East.
Yeah,
if they get that push up to like 2, I could see it.
Yeah, and then going along with the news, they're speculating possibly Kyrie could come back for not just away games, but possibly home games.
Brooklyn had to take a fine to do it, though, right?
And I think they probably would.
$5,000. That's
chump change for
that's chump change.
So especially if you say towards like 30 games out from the playoffs, they want to get their chemistry going. I could see them putting that money towards out there just so they could be good for the playoffs. And then if you have Kyrie out there, that's gonna. It's not gonna diminish his stats a lot.
You're saying
it's eventually gonna little phase a little bit because you got Kyrie there as well.
Yeah.
And Giannis is only gonna get to where he is now or even higher. So I think by then people are gonna be like, well, Giannis, has a good team. He has Middleton, but he doesn't have a Kyrie or Harden on his team.
I agree. What we got next? Was it defensive player or rookie?
Yeah, defensive player of the year.
So, I hate saying it. Who I think deserves the award, probably Draymond for getting the Warriors to be the best defense in basketball, even though they're getting torched by the Bucks right now. To be the best defense in basketball.
Without Draymond, though.
Yeah, Draymond ain't playing.
He's not playing.
Oh, yeah, he's not playing tonight. But normally, right? Unfortunately, team defense doesn't get equated into this, and that's what Draymond has excelled best at. He's arguably one of the best ever at playing team defense. Unfortunately, who I think this award's actually going to go to is Rudy Gobert again, and it's because the Jazz funnel the way their defense works, because they don't really have good wing defenders. They try to funnel everything into the paint so that Rudy Gobert is contesting
Shut that
shots.
shit down.
Yeah, exactly. And that's kind of how their defense works. It's unique to watch. I like Donovan Mitchell plays good defense too, but you know, their wings, it's kind of like Royce O'Neal.
Royce O'Neal, yep.
And that's kind of it.
And then just Joe Ingles in the playoffs.
Yeah, and the reason the Jazz are so good and are able to win a bunch of games is because Rudy Gobert plays great paint defense. I mean, all the hate aside, he's probably the best paint, defensive center I think we've seen probably since, Dwight Howard, Roy Hibbert.
Roy Hibbert was a monster.
Roy Hibbert was nasty on that.
I was about to say, I think Rudy Gobert is one of the most underrated but overrated players at the same time.
Yeah. He's got to finish with like more defensive player of the years than any player is going to have probably this century, unironically.
Rudy Gobert makes the Hall of Fame, man.
He already is.
Yeah, he already
I'm
is.
sorry,
he's already
making it.
It's a lot.
It's probably. I don't see how a player can have what will this be his 4th defensive player of the year?
Yep.
I don't see how a player can have 4 DPOYs and not make the
Rudy
Hall.
Gobert is a Hall of Famer.
I would not be watching that segment or the part of the
I don't want
Hall
to
of
hear
Fame
a
awards.
speech. I don't want to hear nothing.
I remember
he better just walk up and take the award.
I saw a tweet where someone said that they'd rather have prime. Hey, you know where I'm going with this. They'd rather have prime Rudy Gobert over prime Dwight Howard.
Prime Dwight Howard went to the NBA Finals on his own.
It's atrocious. Yeah. You're going to see the same thing again this year with the Jazz, where they're going to make the playoffs, they're going to get in the second round, and then they're going to implode.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's going to happen again. And
You have any faith? I don't know. I think Donovan Mitchell could have another bubble. He have another bubble performance.
I still don't think that's going to be enough.
I mean, it depends who they play, bro.
Warriors,
Grizzlies,
the
Suns.
Suns. Yeah, the Grizzlies is the only team I think that might have a chance.
They could beat the Suns.
I don't know about that.
I thought the Suns were kind of lucky to play a unhealthy Clippers team last year.
Unhealthy Clippers team, unhealthy Lakers team, and then they played. Who else did they play? I think it was the second round. They played.
Last year.
Was it the Jazz?
Nuggets.
The Nuggets. Oh yeah, they played an unhealthy Nuggets team because they didn't.
Jamal Murray.
They didn't even have Jamal Murray. Yeah. Honestly, it probably is one of the most uninspiring finals runs ever. Mm-hmm. When you actually look at who they played.
Yeah, but don't you think that they might have? I think they'll have something on their back. That they want to prove to the league that wasn't a fluke.
I just like their personnel more.
I do love their personnel too.
Ayton, Booker, Paul is a great big three.
And Jalen Smith, their center, is doing pretty good. I think that's his name.
To get back to the defensive player of the year, though, I'm not going to deviate too far. Nico kind of changed my mind. I had Draymond, and then I thought about it. When have they ever given defensive player of the year to a team? They're going to give it to the guy that averages 3 blocks a game and like leads the league in defensive rebounds.
Yeah, and Rudy's numbers are always excellent. Unfortunately, last season, I actually thought the closest he actually had a competition was Ben Simmons.
Yeah.
Because I thought Ben Simmons was playing excellent perimeter defense and made more of an impact team-wise and one-on-one on-ball defender-wise than Rudy was making just blocking shots.
I had Rudy and then Draymond. I'm not going to talk too much about them. I think Gobert's pretty much got it locked up. Matisse Thybulle, what he's doing in Philly, though, I just don't want that to go under the table. I think he could make I think he's third right now, in my opinion.
Or Miles Turner?
The
Miles Turner always gets a lot of blocks a game, but it's not like, I don't think the Pacers have like an extraordinary net rating on.
Matisse is probably the best perimeter defender in the league.
I think if him and Ben Simmons was playing right now, that defensive backcourt would be. I mean, because they be putting Ben Simmons on guards.
Yeah, but it'd be the same thing. You'd have the Sixers being like a 2 seed, getting the playoffs.
No, I'm just talking about their defense though. Like,
defensively it'd be
ridiculous.
Great.
It would be.
So defensive player of the year, obviously, like I both reiterated. Not gonna spill into it. So Gobert, then Draymond too. I was hoping if this person didn't get injured that he'll have some sort of say. Be Bam Adebayo. I think Bam was having a really good season, especially defensively, because not only can he contest the paint because he's their only big man, but he's really good on the perimeter side as well. So just want to give a shout out to Bam Adebayo.
I ask you a question, Tay.
Yeah.
How Lou Dort doing?
Lou Dort's good. I think I don't think he's gonna give the praise, but I think right now, at least for the next year or so, his ceiling might be NBA third defensive team.
So I thought this was the year that the Dorcher Chamber was gonna be like
the Dorcher Chamber. It's the best nickname in the league.
But at the same time, he's had to take a role of more offense this year. So obviously, if he spends more energy on offense, your defense slacks off as a compensation as well.
I think he's one of those players that if the team personnel is right to where he needs to take a third or fourth score, like right now he's the second leading scorer on the team.
Yeah,
I think if the team was right to where and OKC has the draft capital to do this, obviously. If he needed to take a third or fourth spot on the team to just, play defense and then maybe get them 10 to 11 points per game, he seems like the type of player to me that he'd have no issue doing that.
Yeah, like a Marcus Smart-ish kind of situation.
Exactly.
Nah, to me, Lou Dort's ceiling, man, he's having like a Jimmy Butler. This is kind of like the Jimmy Butler trajectory. Like, remember when Jimmy Butler first came into the league, nobody thought he was going to be like the 23-point per game scorer he is now. Like, I didn't even think he was that great of a scorer this year.
On that Bulls team with him on Derrick Rose, he was kind of like the
he was
defensive specialist.
Yeah, and then Derrick Rose gets hurt. Jimmy Butler start averaging, 15 points a game. I think Dort's at 16 this year.
Yeah, Dort's only 22. I think the sky's the limit for him offensively. He's been better catch and shoot this year as far as the 3 points. He's been better finishing as well. But I think as long as he can, since people key on him for either 3-point bombs or drives to the basket, if he can get that little stop pop mid range somewhat consistently, I think sky's the limit for him. But yeah,
shout out Lou Dort.
Yeah, shout out Lou Dort.
Thunder gang.
Yeah, you didn't know this is a Thunder podcast.
What we got? Rookie of the year next.
I was about to go with most improved.
Most improved.
Yeah.
This is a hard award. I already said it earlier, but I'm going to say Miles Bridges. I think he's officially started to enter the elite forward tier. He's at the bottom of it, but him and
John Collins, right? He's at like the John Collins level.
Yeah, I'd put him right. I put him right above John Collins.
I was about to say something.
I mean, he is electrifying offensive player, and defensively he's nothing he's not elite, but
he's not solid. Bad enough.
Yeah, he's solid. Yeah. But offensively, as a rim runner, man, he might be one of the best in the league at that forward position.
It feel like he catch a body every game.
Yeah,
that's what it feels like.
Off a LaMelo off the board lob. They're a fun duo to watch.
Hum diddly do.
So yeah, that's probably my most improved. Although I could also put in here, he could win both these awards because we're about to talk about six man. I could put Tyler Hero in here because he went from arguably being a bench player,
like 16 to 22, I think. Right?
Yeah, it's hard to talk about a six man for being most improved player, but I mean he went from being a negative for the Miami Heat to being a complete net positive off the bench. I think he's averaging something like 22 or 23 points per game, whereas last year I believe he was in like the low teens.
Yeah.
So he's almost jumped up his points per game by 10.
Too.
Oh yeah.
His efficiency is through the roof, and he's winning the Heat games coming off of the bench. He's as good of a six man that I've seen since Manu, and I think that's really high praise coming from me. I think he has good. He has a good chance of winning both most improved and six man. I just spoiled it, but yeah, it's my six man pick.
I'm not gonna deviate too far. I think most improved is pretty easy. I was gonna say Miles Bridges. It feels like he's more than just a dunker. Like he's at this point, he's starting to shoot too. Yeah, he's starting to be a legitimate like NBA scorer. I think he's at like 19, 18 points a game. Charlotte's doing good. I think it just comes down to like most improved comes down to like Miles Bridges. I think Gary Payton II, he deserves a little bit of nods. He don't have the numbers, but just off of energy and impact, what he's doing in Golden State, you could say he's like he's their second most defensive, most important player on like the defense this year. Golden State.
Yeah, but unfortunately, that's not going to navigate.
Yeah, it ain't gonna get him. It ain't gonna get him a most improved.
If anything, most improved from the Warriors, I think would be Jordan Poole.
Jordan Poole is up
Yeah.
there.
It might be a cop out, but my most improved, other than obviously Miles Bridges, or possibly even Tyler Hero, I'm going with Ja Morant because
Wow.
there's sequences where you see most improved, they get the award, and then they take off. I think about Giannis, where he won most improved, obviously years ago, and then after that, he just took off.
Yeah, he went from being a really good forward to being like, oh damn, this might be the best power forward in the league.
Yeah, so that's why I have Ja Morant. Obviously, there's more people more deserving. You can look at like Miles Bridges going from, you could say, from rim running to being a certified bucket getter on the offensive.
Tell you like this one, DeJounte Murray.
Oh yeah, DeJounte. Yeah, that's a shout out to DeJounte. But going back to Ja, I mean,
It's kind of
going from play in to possibly top. I'm gonna just say top three, and then like I know you can say his points per game is not going up by like 8 or 10, but like his effectiveness of the game and just everything. I think
his game flow. I mean, he's a bona fide superstar right now. And his rookie season, it didn't necessarily. You knew there was something there. But I think now that he's starting to win doing it, I think now it's going much more noticed on what it was. So yeah, I mean that's a solid pick. I actually like that a lot. I don't think it's tough for a rookie of the year to win most improved player, but you could definitely see it.
But yeah, shout out to DeJounte Murray. He's averaging, well, he had like a 30-point triple-double, but I guess his averages might go up to like 19, 8, and 8, 19, 9 and 9 maybe. So DeJounte Murray, obviously, Spurs need some recognition. But DeJounte Murray, I think, also warrants a possible All-Star nod as well. But most improved, he should
shout
be
him
up
out
there.
for the All-Star game. You missed him.
I missed him, but he deserves mentionings too because I think he's having a crazy underappreciated.
Very
year.
underappreciated. I mean, because he's pretty much
Two-way.
he's point guard Giannis, bro. He's averaging damn near triple double and locking up your best perimeter scorer, like, or playing at least in the team defense. Like he's just doing his thing. So
yeah, shout out to DeJounte Murray. So as we go through that, we go to sixth man of the year, which is probably be
we all
Tyler Hero.
Yeah, Tyler Hero.
I didn't even take much of a discussion. I think we all know that's Tyler.
Yeah.
All right, so we got any runner-ups maybe?
No.
That's
Six man. I thought this was Derrick Rose is finally gonna get it this year, and then the Knicks. He got hurt. The Knicks is falling off.
It's tough for me
who
to
else
think of too many other guys.
the only thing I would probably think is a popular name is just Jordan Clarkson. I don't know who else.
Yeah, Jordan Clarkson.
Jordan
But
Clarkson's
I think we all agree that Tyler Hero has that in the bag.
Yeah, it's just it's.
I mean, are there any names we could Kelly Oubre?
Kelly Oubre is really good this year.
If Tyler Hero wasn't in the conversation, he'd probably be my runner-up.
Kelly Oubre.
Yeah, which it's weird because actually, as a matter of fact, he might also be in the conversation for most improved just because his tenure with the Warriors was terrible, and then all of a sudden, he's looking.
I mean,
solid.
I saw the
what
potential in Washington, but yeah, he didn't do what he was supposed to do in Golden State. You got Tyrese Halliburton.
Tyrese Halliburton's really good.
6 man of the year.
No, Tyrese Halliburton's not a 6 man.
He's not starting.
Yes, he is. They have him running the 1 and then De'Aaron Fox at the 2.
Yeah, I think they have.
Davion.
They have Davion coming off the bench.
Yeah, I was about to say. But speaking of Tyrese Halliburton, he can take a huge step in his progression. I just think, I guess in a GM sense, I would probably try to rebuild that whole team. Probably try to find something for De'Aaron Fox and let Davion Mitchell get some running time more. But that's assuming they drop down the play in a little bit.
Where they at right now?
They're like hovering around like 10 probably.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Oh yeah, they right below. They're right below Portland.
Just in the not good category, not going anywhere.
It's like to the point they're too. I don't want to say too good, but like they're good to be out the lottery a little bit to get a game changing.
Not good enough to.
They're in no man's land.
Yeah, they're in no man's land. So I think in order to find your central direction, it's either you want to be bad enough to get a lottery pick to retool your team, or you want to be good enough because you're making the playoffs. But I think step one in that direction.
I feel like the Kings been in purgatory for.
They're in the spot that I would consider the Ben Simmons lottery. That's the spot they're in. That's any team that's not getting a top 5 or 10 pick is the Ben Simmons lottery.
We have a lot to go through, but do you want to hold off the power rankings or want to go through it?
I mean, what for NBA?
Yeah, we have scheduled for power rankings, Klay Thompson, and then resolutions.
I'm not going to spend too much on power rankings. I unless you guys want to really go through it.
It don't really matter.
It's like Warriors, Nets, the Bulls. I think have a chance to make some noise. The Suns have a chance to make some noise. The Lakers, I'm completely counting out this year, unless
How about top 5? We'll just do top 5.
I got I mean, this is gonna be pretty obvious. I got Warriors, Suns, Nets, Bulls, and we'll shout out Ja Morant. I'll throw the Grizzlies at 5.
So the Grizzlies, I have the same exact rankings as to what you just read off. I do have the Bucks though as an honorable mention. I think let's give some credit to the reigning defending champs. I think they're gonna be hard to knock off for any team. At the end of the day, what wins playoff games is who has the best player on the court and who has as many superstar players.
Yep.
And as much as I love the Bulls and want to put them in the top 5, it's hard to see them coming in to Giannis's house or winning a 7-game series against the Bucks, because I think the Bucks are equipped to be able to deal with the variety of scoring that they have. I just wish
they're not even fully healthy either.
Yeah, they're not fully healthy. But come playoff time, you got Chris Middleton, you got Giannis, you got Drew Holiday still playing.
That's right.
Bobby Portis is, I think, a very good defensive asset for them.
Underrated, I think. What's his name? The guy from Duke.
Oh, Grayson
Allen.
Grayson Allen,
3-and-D, and then you also got who was injured last year. Dante DiVincenzo was really good in his role last year.
So I'm gonna put the Bucks. Bucks are actually being the Warriors right now, and we have them in top. Granted, Draymond's not playing, but
beating the shit out of them.
Yeah, I think they're up by like 30 right now. But if we're gonna sit here and have conversations about top 5 power rankings, I'm gonna have the Bucks in there because I love Giannis. I think he's the best player in the league.
That's fair. I had the same thing, like 9 Suns, Warriors, Nets, Bulls, Grizzlies. Honorable mention would be the Bucks.
Yeah.
So pretty quick going through. But Nico, you had something interesting to say about Klay Thompson's return game.
Oh yeah. So he had this magical return. I think it was a couple nights ago, and he was coming off of an injury. I forgot who were they playing.
Cleveland Cavaliers.
It was almost hard to even recognize. Although Cleveland had a little shot at them to where it was like the games listed out of the rings in the 2016 finals. Mm-hmm. The Warriors did not like that. Klay Thompson came out, caught like a body on a dunk, hit like 3 threes in a quarter or something like that, and pretty much just said, "Yep, I'm back." And it'll be interesting to see. The reason I have the Warriors at the top of my power rankings is I think they are going to go into the West arguably with the most playoff experience between their 3 core players, Draymond, Klay, and Steph. And that's going to be really hard for any team to beat. I don't see the Lakers beating them without a doubt. But I think in a series against the Suns, I'm going to give it to the Warriors. Against a series with the Grizzlies, I'm going to give it to the Warriors. Even though the Grizzlies just sunned them, a couple nights ago. I love the Grizzlies. I love what they're doing, but you've kind of seen before young teams get in the playoffs, and when you get in the playoffs, a lot of what matters in NBA is experience and star power. That's kind of what the Grizzlies are lacking right now. So I see the Warriors kind of running through it, and a lot of that will have to do on how well Klay Thompson comes back. I think there's going to be a little bit of rust there, but the surprising thing is the Warriors don't need Klay to go out there and win them games. They need him to go out there, play all right defense, and hit some shots. Mm-hmm. And I can see him doing that, even coming off of a torn ACL, torn Achilles in 2 years. So I was very impressed by Klay's comeback. I think he's always been one of the most underrated and underappreciated players in the league. He's arguably, actually I don't even think it's arguable, he's the best 3-and-D player of all time. For shooting threes and the caliber of defense he plays, he's what made the Warriors such a dominant powerhouse, especially when KD was there. Having him as your third option on a team is just absurdly ridiculous. So I'm happy to see him back. I'm happy to see him healthy and playing NBA basketball, and I think I appreciated a lot more having 2 years of going without them. Even though I hate the Warriors, I do have a lot of appreciation for Klay Thompson's game because it's unorthodox, but it wins basketball games.
You said the best 3-and-D player of all time.
I mean, who are you putting there?
I'd had to think on it because I don't want to just shit on Klay Thompson. That's a good pick.
Yeah, I was about to say I don't have really much to add because you pretty said it right on the money. Klay's return is obviously beautiful after what he's done. Shows a little bit of 3-level scoring that he's capable of doing.
Yeah, dunking, shooting
threes,
shooting
when he had that body, I was like, oh my, yeah, he looks good. But yeah, like you said, Klay, he doesn't need to be 100. He doesn't need to be 100% at all for them to be contenders.
Him at 70, I think, is more than enough for this team to win a championship
They
this
have
year.
so many players to throw at you, not even to mention they don't even have James Wiseman out there. So like the Warriors going to just keep on getting better as the season goes on. And as the season goes on, Klay's just going to get more healthier per se, more comfortable in the system. So that's all I got to say.
There ain't really too much to be said that ain't been said already. They just need Klay Thompson to be, 70-75% of what he was. The Warriors look good. They look like a great defensive team. This is the pre-KD Warriors, man. This ain't 73-10, but this is that, that 2014-15.
It's fun to see.
Yeah.
It's fun to see. I wish we could have gotten 2 years of this without KD ruining the NBA. Yeah, I mean, that's really all
You hate that move.
I hate it so much. We'll talk about it one day because I know this podcast is running a little bit long, and we'll probably end up talking. I'd like to do it maybe next week on the 96 Bulls versus the 17 Warriors.
Oh yeah, that needs to be discussed.
Yeah, it needs to be discussed. But but ironically in that, I think it damages Steph's legacy. It damages KD's legacy to a lot of people. But for me, I think the only person who really didn't get hate out of that move was actually Klay Thompson. And I don't know how much he was involved in that decision, but he definitely benefited from it, at least from the perspective of, it's interesting. He benefited from it because he got rings, and he didn't really have to do too much except save the Warriors in a game against the Rockets, if I recall, and he was almost carrying them in the Raptors finals.
Yeah.
Game 6 Klay is real.
Yeah.
I don't know if it'll be real coming back off of the injury.
Top 5 player ever, Game 6 Klay.
Well, I know that greatly.
Game 6 Klay and Game 6. That's why I said the most entertaining game in a Bulls, 96 Bulls 17 Warriors series would be Game 6 if it got there, because
Jordan don't like going to Game 6, bro.
Game 6 Jordan, Game 6 Klay, that'd be one hell of a thing to see. But I think if it would have just been him and Steph, a lot of people would have appreciated him a lot more for what he's capable of doing, because his potential is, he's arguably the second best 3-point shooter ever, and a fantastic defensive guard, and those don't come around too often.
That's scary. They don't even really need him to be like the lock. I ain't gonna call. He was a lockdown guard for a while.
He guarded basically 1 through 3 and 4 in some cases.
And he doesn't even really have to do that now because of all the other pieces that the Warriors have that play defense. Like, you got Gary Payton the second out there. You got Jonathan Kuminga out there. James Wiseman holding down the paint when he gets back.
When he's not in the G League. Is that where he is right now, or is he on?
I think he's out. He hurt.
Who?
James Wiseman.
Yeah, he's hurt. He'll be coming back soon, though.
Gotcha.
So he don't even got to be like, he really just doesn't even have to be the person he was. Like, literally just, 65, 70%, and the Warriors are going to be scary.
All right. So, obviously, it's 2022. Happy New Year's to everybody. Given that it's New Year's, we got some resolutions for some teams. So we're going to talk about some fringe and underwhelming teams.
New year, new team.
Yeah, new year, new team. So, I guess I'll send it to you, Nye. What's your resolution for a team?
Man, if I'm the Lakers, my New Year's resolution is, man, I will shit Russell Westbrook at the deadline. That's my, what I'm saying. If I'm the Lakers management, bro, you got to find a way to you just got to the experiment was cool. It was a good try. It's just not gonna work.
I'll throw 2 suggestions at you.
All right.
We know AD's not out there, so the full 3 the full quote unquote big three has never been playing together like that.
And
Fair.
So unfairly,
Yeah.
if you got AD up there, they've been experimenting more. Braun at the 5, maybe AD can kind of tinker at the 4 or 5 position with Braun. I mean, I obviously I can't condone. I mean, I am or was whichever one to put it. I am a huge Russell Westbrook supporter.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that I think it's hard. If you look at these last 2 games, he's had like 2 turnovers. He's limited tremendously, but his effectiveness in the game has plummeted. It's part of his game.
Every game is basically like a low light. It's him shooting these mid-ranges, mid-range jump shots that aren't even close to going in.
And the thing, if
That
you
used
look
to be one
about
of
it,
his
like
best
young
shots.
Westbrook doesn't really hit corner mid ranges. It used to just be top of the key.
The meme that came out of the Kings game, and I'll show you guys it. I don't know if you saw it, but it was ice cold player of the game, Russell
Yeah.
Westbrook.
Oh, yeah.
This is going to be a meme for the rest of the season while he's on the Lakers. I mean, I just don't see it changing when AD gets back.
It's not going to change at all because there's no trade partners going to want to take on Russell Westbrook.
Somebody has to. Like, I don't
Somebody
know, bro.
doesn't
LeBron's
have
gonna have
to.
to make some calls, bro.
Nobody
The Lakers
has
cannot.
to.
They can't win with this, bro. They can't.
It's
LeBron
not
can't
just
get.
it's not just the fact that they're not winning with it. It's how ugly the basketball is.
Yeah.
It doesn't even look like it's fun. Like,
You know what?
to play on that
without,
team.
Without AD out there, it reminds me of them 2017, 2018 Cavs before
Yes.
that deadline.
Yeah.
Yes.
Remember they had Derrick Rose, Dwayne Wade, Isaiah Thomas,
And it was
Looks
uninspired.
good on paper.
Crowder.
Look
Yeah.
good on paper, but no.
Good on paper. This should be a top 3 team in the West,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and it's just not clicking. Something's not. I mean, I'm not gonna say something. Russell Westbrook just doesn't fit there. AD wasn't playing well when he was there. Now he wasn't the issue, but he wasn't playing well when he was there, and I don't see him coming back off of an injury and just turning it back up.
Yeah, I don't want to throw Russell under the bus too much, but when the original transaction happened and you saw Schroeder was out the door and Russ was coming in, I was like, all right, it's a net gain on offense because Russ can do more than Schroeder can do, and I think defensively they're pretty similar. No, they're not.
No.
Russ just doesn't play defense. He's like spectating on half of this. His on-ball defense doesn't look like anything what it used to be. I keep hearing how much he's a high-energy player, but the high energy is just being spent on blown layups. He'll do this thing where he drives to the basket. Probably, I know this because I've seen more Lakers games than any other basketball team. It's like watching the Browns. Like, I'm torturing myself watching these sports teams.
I get nauseous watching Russell Westbrook.
Yeah,
come up the
he-
court now.
he'll
point.
run towards the basket. I don't even think with the intention of actually laying up the ball, and then he'll just try to pass it mid-air. It's like in 2K when you don't mean to
bailout.
To go
shoot,
up.
yeah, and
Yeah,
you do
you
the
gotta pass out of
bailout.
it.
He's
Yeah.
doing it every game, like
Yeah.
numerous times, and it almost always is resulting in a turnover. Like, the defense is waiting for Russell to drive and pass the ball out. It's bad. It's bad, and it's primarily because they don't have perimeter shooters. This works if LeBron's standing on the perimeter and they have like 2 or 3 guys out there who can shoot in the corners, and you can't, lock up the paint. But all teams have to do is just get 2-3 guys in the paint. You can leave Kemp Bazemore open. Malik Monk is probably the only intimidating shooter on that team.
He's turned
Yeah,
it
he's
up this
turned
year,
up.
bro. He's finally hitting like his
Yeah,
open shot.
and it sucks because it feels like the Lakers are right at the door, but I don't know what they can do.
Tay probably
You get
knows
John
the numbers
Wall,
on this.
like-
I don't know how they're gonna get rid of Russ. That contract.
Russ is making 45-ish mil. The only team that's capable of taking that is the OKC Thunder, and I don't see Sam. Presti
Absolutely
pulling that
not.
trigger.
They're not gonna ruin the tank.
I'm
I'll
about
be
to
like,
say,
you have
I
any
don't
first
see
round
them doing
picks
that.
to go that?
No,
No, they don't.
I mean, they could offer 2028, but Sam Price is going to need more than just one
It's a
pick.
valuable pick.
I,
All things considered.
I mean, that's a huge pick, but then it's like I think he has 2 years, and then you have to work out like, hey, Russ, do you want a buyout situation? But like, if you're making 45 mil, you're not taking. You're not.
I mean,
taking a
Russ
buyout.
to the Thunder means, like, it'd be fun to see, but like,
Sam Presti's not gonna ruin the
Yeah,
process.
he's
though.
not
yeah, he's like, I'm in the process right now. Honestly, though, if you do want to tank some games, taking on Russell Westbrook at this stage doesn't
yeah.
seem like a bad idea.
It'll ruin the development of the players. That
Yeah,
we need
yeah,
to
definitely.
evaluate.
Man, I don't know what they got to do. Just like I don't know. It's just ugly to watch, bro.
It is
ugly.
bad. All right, so that's your New Year's resolution.
Yeah, that's my.
It's a good one. My New Year's resolution, the Lakers is the one I wanted to do, but it's too easy. It's going to be patience is a virtue, and I think that the 76ers' patience with Ben Simmons is actually going to end up paying off. I wouldn't be surprised if he finds a trade candidate towards the end of the deadline this year. I think that the Damian Lillard situation is... I don't think it's going to deteriorate, but I think it's much more... I think it's going to start becoming much more palatable for Portland to trade him for Ben Simmons and possibly Maxey or Thibault. I don't think it's a bad return. I didn't think it was a bad return when the season started. I think even now with Lillard's play, not that he's playing poorly, I think he'll probably make the All-Star game this year, possibly. But I think Portland could kind of start seeing, all right, I'm not winning here. I'm not happy. Portland's not winning. Portland's not happy. This is starting to look like a mutual thing that could happen to where Ben Simmons makes a lot of sense to Portland. I think Ben Simmons, another player, and possibly like a pick or two, it makes sense for both sides. And I think it also puts the Sixers in a position to where they could reasonably make the finals. Yeah, they maximize Joel Embiid. They have a offensive superstar with Damian Lillard. It's fun basketball on both sides, and it puts Portland in an excellent rebuilding position.
Especially with Simmons, Afri Simons, I think that's how you pronounce his name.
Afri
Simons. He's been hooping lately. And then if you can get any compensation for CJ McCollum after that, you can say with the Pacers, you can get like a Karis LeVert, maybe a DeMontis Sabonis.
If I was the Sixers, I wouldn't. Because I heard in the works it was like, oh, well, maybe we could do C.J. McCollum for Simmons. I would not do it.
I wouldn't do that either.
If you're a Sixers, you're going, we'll do Lillard and we'll give you a package.
I think Anthony's. I don't think so. I saw a report yesterday, and it was like, I don't know how reliable it is, but it was like the Blazers are still convinced that they want to build around the 31-year-old Damian Lillard.
I saw that too.
So I could see. I also heard that the Sixers was also trying to move Tobias Harris with the Ben Simmons trade.
Ain't nobody taking Tobias on that.
I think of Tobias Harris, Ben Simmons, Damian Lillard in Portland. I don't think that's as bad as
Who are they getting back? Just C.J. McCollum?
No, it would have to be. I mean, Simons might have to be in there.
Yeah, but that's not enough for them.
I mean, you got
I think. Because I have a lot of friends who are Sixers fans because I went to college in PA. I was like, would you take, just say Ben for like a De'Aaron Fox, Buddy Hield, who's this? Buddy Hield and Harrison Barnes. Try to tweak the money. Tweak the money however you see fit. But then I was like, if you think about it, you might be like, oh, there's not one de facto star like a Dame, but it's like you can run Fox at the one.
The issue with Fox is, and I actually like Fox a lot as a player. Originally, when we had talked about this, it was like, would you do Fox for Simmons or something like that? Fox and Hield for Simmons? I was like, no, if I was the Kings. But it's
just not working out down there.
Yeah, it's not working out. I could see that being a possibility. The only thing that's weird about it is Tyrese Maxey's actually been playing really well for the Sixers. Mm-hmm. And what is Fox giving you that?
Well, this year he's having an off year.
And then say some unforeseen reason. I don't think they should do it, but say if they offer you Tyrese Halliburton, who's more of a sister, he's more of a play initiator than De'Aaron Fox, in my opinion. I think so. Because if you watch these recent games, Halliburton's been more of the playmaker.
Oh, I think the Kings are almost at a point to where I think someone compared it to like the Monte Ellis Steph Curry thing, although neither of these players at this point are anywhere close to where I think those players were. I mean, we're talking about 2 all-star caliber guards, and but
De'Aaron was close last year.
He was close. But it's almost like the Kings have to make a decision as to who are they building behind, De'Aaron Fox or Halliburton, because I don't think the timeline for both the players, even though they're both young, are necessarily adding
the contract.
Like they need to move the needle somehow, and I don't see how they move the needle by just keeping the two players and trying to do the Portland thing with like Damian Lillard and CJ did. When I like Fox isn't Damian Lillard, and I also think for the Sixers, De'Aaron Fox doesn't move the needle necessarily. But I mean, if you're at the point to where it's like, hey, let's get something for Ben Simmons, and the Lillard thing isn't panning out, I could see Fox.
Okay,
so yeah, that's my New Year's resolution. They get something, ship out, move on from your ex. That's the New Year's resolution for the Sixers. Move on from your ex and upgrade.
I was about to do the Sixers, so but I guess I'll.
Each other's teams.
I'm gonna first.
I'm gonna do the Celtics. Ben Simmons will be amazing for them. I think they need defense.
Mm-hmm.
I think they need a point guard who can initiate the ball. Because if you look at it, Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, dynamic duo. I'm not trying to diminish their playmaking abilities, but of course these throughout the season, they're just scorers. You're not. There's like a game where Jaylen Brown had like 40 points, like almost like no assists.
Tatum's also having an off year this year.
Yeah, so I think even though it's probably no way in hell they can probably pull it off, but like if they were to find a way to get Ben Simmons on their team without giving the ball, even though that's impossible, but then
you'd have to give Brown.
One of them are gone.
I think it's not Daryl Morey. It's who's their GM now?
Isn't it?
Isn't it Brad?
Brad Stevens, yeah. Brad Stevens. Yeah. Brad Stevens is going to have to find something to do because they're going to be at the point where they're too good to not get another focal player in the draft, or like they're going to have to.
They're in the Ben Simmons lottery.
Yeah. They're going to be like too. I mean, it depends if a star wants to go to this Boston.
Yeah.
But I think they're going to have to eventually move one of the two.
After the Kyrie thing, unfortunately.
I wish they didn't piss Kyrie off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they miss Kyrie right now.
Yeah.
Frankly,
they could say. I still think defense is going to be a focal point. Like, I don't know what they're going to do, but I think Ben Simmons would do wonders for them. Even the Hawks, I think Ben Simmons would be amazing for the Hawks because I would love to see how Trae Young could be off ball as well.
Yeah, although that'd be funny if he's on the Hawks.
Oh yeah, start shooting.
Last year.
Yeah, after last year's meme of him going for the layup and then passing out of it, because Trae Young's 5'11" ass was contesting him in the paint.
That's Hall of Fame intimidator. He knew better. He made a business decision.
Hey, yeah, man.
Honestly, that picture though, that image of Ben Simmons passing out of the paint,
looks bad.
It's almost poetic. That's exactly how NBA 2K22 is.
Don't let Ronnie hear that.
No layups.
Yeah, he can be 5'11", but he'll probably block it. Yep. So that's a good resolution. That's good.
I almost did the Celtics. I looked at them. I just couldn't figure out how to fix them. Because I absolutely don't want to break up that dynamic duo. Like I think that could be like a DeMar DeRozan, Zach LaVine thing. It should be.
Not DeMar DeRozan.
Yeah, but
Kyle
then
Lowry.
the Bulls.
I'm talking
like
what they
modern.
doing on the
But
Bulls
with the
today.
Bulls,
Like,
you got Lonzo, who's a sister, who's a capable shooter, respectable shooter, and who's also
an excellent playmaker.
Yeah, great playmaker and defense. Jaylen Brown to me is obviously better defender because I think he's more athletic. He's more of a better perimeter defender than Jason
Well, you
Tatum.
thought you were getting more on the contract that you gave Marcus Smart, but Marcus Smart,
I think he's I think he's like a heartbeat of the team, but I think the team.
He doesn't initiate. For a point guard, he doesn't initiate.
He's not point guard.
No. He's guarding point guard.
He should be the Alex Caruso role, where you're the point guard in name, but like where he makes his money is playing lockdown elite defense
and just making the right.
They need a Chris Paul.
Oh yeah.
That's what they need, and they can't get a Chris Paul.
Hey, weapons they have range on Rondo.
Bring back Rondo.
I mean, that's like the only.
God.
I mean, he's on the Cavs now, but
I mean that might have been a good thing to do though.
Yeah,
I'm thinking about it.
I mean, Rondo's a capable defender.
I mean, if you believe that Rondo can be your starting point guard for 82 games,
and just stagger him and Marcus Smart,
because Rondo will run the floor, at least. Like Marcus Smart won't do that, but Rondo will play like above average defense and run your floor.
It's a Band-Aid. I mean, it would have been a Band-Aid. I don't think it's pushing the Celtics to where they want to be. Unfortunately.
Nah, I just think it takes some pressure off of Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum to like run the offense and be like the best, 25 point per game scorers. So I don't know. That could have made sense. It could have made sense. I could see it. It would have been a nice little reunion story too for Rondo to end his career there.
Would have been nice. So now we're about to reach the conclusion of the podcast episode. So, but before we leave, we're gonna talk about a single large item. So, what we're gonna do is talk about anything take away from the sports media world that we believe that should get more attention. So I'll start off with you, Nico.
Oh man, I already kind of hit on my large item earlier, but I guess I'll talk about incompetency, and you see it in two different facets of management. With the Dolphins letting go of Brian Flores, I think they're going to be like a 5-win team next year, and you see incompetency with them. Letting go of a head coach, and then up until last week to where the head coach decided it was a good idea to run 2 quarterback sneaks, like I said earlier, it was almost incompetency on the Giants keeping a bad head coach. And I think Ed Reed put out a fantastic tweet, which it's always good to hear from him because you don't too often. He put out a fantastic tweet that I kind of wanted to talk about, or at least mention, where he said, please stop recycling bad coaching. Please stop doing this. We've seen it with, more recently, it was the Jets head coach, Adam Gase, to where you see him ruin the Dolphins, jump over to the Jets, ruin the Jets, and I'm really tired of seeing incompetent head coaching in the NFL. It is it's easily the most frustrating sports to watch bad coaching at. And I think some of these guys don't, I'm happy Freddie Kitchens is like a specialist somewhere. Don't head coach. There's some people that aren't cut out for head coaching, and there's some people that are. And the sooner these organizations will realize that, I think the better off they'll be for it.
Yeah.
My single large item, we were just talking about like purgatory and teams being stuck in no man's land. So NBA, we got the Kings, we got we just got a bunch of teams, huh?
I said the Blazers.
Yeah, the Blazers, the Kings, the Celtics now. Switching sports, what are the Colts gonna do now? You had a year where last year you looked dangerous. You had Phillip Rivers, and you were a quarterback away from being like a great, making a playoff push.
Great team, yeah, like a top 3 seed.
Yeah, and then this year, you got Carson Wentz, who proved this year like he's a good starting quarterback, but like he's unreliable. He's unreliable. He's either hurt or fucking up in the last 2 games. Just
blowing. And
this is like oh, I almost fell. This is like it's like the worst. Like this is the worst stain on Indianapolis like I've ever seen.
That's
like
bad.
You go from Peyton Manning and Andrew Luck, and now your quarterback
to Jacoby Brissett, Phillip Rivers 1 year. I mean, they're in quarterback.
They were at least like they were good with Phillip Rivers. Phillip Rivers isn't doing what happened last week to the Jaguars. He's not doing that.
You're starting to agree with what I'm saying.
Yeah,
because I was saying Phillip Rivers like last year, people were ready to kick him out the door, but actually thought he was keeping that team relevant.
And it's like, and now Carson Wentz, he had a good year. Like in all actuality, he had a good year, but like that's just unexcusable. So like, what the hell do the Colts do now, bro? Like,
I think he's the only quarterback I think I've seen live. I wasn't at the game, but like watching on TV that actually threw a pick on a shovel screen pass.
Like that was Mark Sanchez.
It was bad. Yeah, and it sucks watching this from Wentz because I think before pre-injury he was able to extend plays, and my dad even got to watch the Eagles on their Super Bowl run year where Carson was at the peak of his powers, and he was able to extend plays, break a tackle or something, and make an outstanding play out of it.
And now he wants to prove he can still do that. Yeah, and he's just doing too much, and now it'll be it's a pick downfield.
Yeah, now it's I'll break a tackle or hike the ball and then throw an interception at a crucial moment in overtime, and it's like, dude, what are you
But
doing?
he's still a starting quarterback. It's just like what do you do? And then do you move off of that? Like, do you take the chance and just move off of that?
After they gave up all that compensation and now, think about dead money and everything, I don't think they will do that.
I mean,
Especially,
so you gotta give it another go with them.
I think they'll give another
I'd like
go.
to see it
One more time.
I will say this: the Colts, while we can sit here and glow about their roster, I would like to see them go into this year's draft and try to get Wentz some receivers. I don't think the right thing to do, just because I'm not necessarily impressed by this year's quarterback class. I mean, you might be able to get someone like a Trey Lance, light, Diet Lance.
Yeah.
Like, you might be able to get that in like the second or end of the first. But I mean, really, what I think they should do. T.Y. Hilton's getting up there in age.
They're not having a first though. It's the Eagles pick, remember?
Oh yeah, it is the Eagles pick. So I mean, you're not even going to get. You're not really looking at anything that's needle changing for the quarterback position, and I don't think they're trading or going to be able to get anything done to get one of the needle movers we were talking about earlier in the show. So I really think what you do is keep building the base. Just be patient. The last thing you want to do, and what bad teams do, is when the quarterback position isn't right, they keep trying to do this carousel of quarterbacks and they ignore other positions in the draft, and it leads to the team being bad. Yeah. So get some receiving weapons. Try to, do the Daniel Jones thing almost. I mean, the Giants at the very least found out this year Daniel Jones isn't the guy. Get the weapons there for the Colts. Worst come to worst, if you have to move off of Wentz in a year or two, do that. But don't try to fix everything in one off season. I know it's a win now league, but it wasn't that bad.
My single large item is more of a appreciation. When you think about most valuable player, obviously some people think about stats, some people think about wins, what position you play. But when I think about most valuable player, obviously you got players like Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, but this player has gone through the most in a single season that I can ever think of, so I would like to give a heart-to-heart MVP to my man Derek Carr. Derek Carr has experienced a season where his head coach got fired, or he relieved himself from his duties, quote unquote.
Oh yeah, I mean, no, he was basically
yeah.
It's the first time I've seen a coach, because I mean the NBA relieved Donald Sterling of his duties back in the day, but it's the first time I've seen maybe the league fire a head coach. That's essentially what happened.
So like you have your head coach, and then we all know the traumatic event of Henry Ruggs and what happened there. And then their cornerback, I think it might be last name Averett or something like that, had like something with the gun situation.
I saw on Twitter he was posting videos of him with like the assault rifle or whatever.
It's crazy stuff that Derek Carr has gone through. If you put that on top of Darren Waller has not been available a lot this season at all.
The only bright spot on their team really was like Hunter Renfrow.
Yeah, Hunter Renfrow. And if we all went to this season, talking about Hunter Renfrow, I wouldn't think, unless you're a hardcore Raiders fan, that you say Hunter Renfrow is a top 15 receiver.
Yeah.
And now once we get to the end of the season, everybody's putting more respect onto Hunter Renfrow, and deservingly so. He's
like Cooper Kupp light.
Yes, amazing route runner, technician, get sure hands and everything.
You showing out
a first guy in, last guy out kind of guy. Someone you'd want your daughter to date.
No backwards cat kind of guy.
Yeah.
But yeah, Derek Carr. I mean, you got Hunter Renfrow, then you have Zay Jones. Deshaun Jackson's no slouch. He's obviously a tremendous deep threat, but
he's set up to fail.
Yeah,
I mean, every bit.
That was set up to fail, and especially if media says that John Gruden was not a huge fan of Derek Carr, how tough he was onto him, and now that he was gone, and now Derek Carr has the reins of the organization and put him on his back per se, and now they're in the playoffs. It's beautiful to see. So heart to heart MVP to Derek Carr.
I love that heart to heart.
Nah, that was good. That was a good ass way to end the show too, bro.
That was good.
So
I love that.
So we hope that you liked the first episode of our podcast.
Hopefully we'll
take two.
Many more coming for take two. Yeah.
So hopefully see y'all next week.
All right.
We'll do. See you.